Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live, and we've got breaking news. Pascal Siakam has been traded to the Indiana Pacers. In exchange, the Toronto Raptors get 3 first-round picks. Don't get too hung up on that. We're going to talk about it. And the Toronto Raptors also get 3 players. They get 3 players. They get 3 picks. Let's talk about those 3 players, and let's talk about 3 picks. First of all, the 3 players coming back: Jordan Nwora, Kira Lewis, and Bruce Brown, NBA champion Bruce Brown. Apparently that has some equity around these parts. And the 3 picks, of course, the 2 picks that the Pacers control for 2024 plus a 2026. Seeing a lot of stuff here, man. Joshua Avery, do we need to waive someone? Yes, technically we do. B saying, we're so back. It's very interesting seeing all of these reactions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a call-in link for you guys. I would love to hear your reactions on this. I think through discourse, as opposed to monologue, will come greater understanding of this. And it's really important to me to understand how you guys see this stuff, right? Rayon, we got fleeced. Nah, okay. Here's the call-in link. If someone wants to call in, you can absolutely call in. Sean J saying, we traded Siakam for a bag of chips. Can we waive Dennis? Will be worse. LOL. No, we will not. Okay. Let's talk about this for a second here. Let me minimize the screen here. Let me see if any other the 2026 first rounder, the Pacers will send their own. I don't know if it is protected, and that will be very interesting to see if there's any protections, if there's a lottery protection, because the Pacers could still easily go the other way. They probably won't. But as deals go, right, you're trading away 2 players, you're bringing in a new player. Do things go super well for the Pacers? Are they so dominant right now that they cannot fail? I think if you're a smart person, you're probably projecting that this is going to be a very solid playoff team. How solid are they going to be? Are you going to get, a top 18 pick out of this? Slim Creeper saying we didn't even get Buddy Hield. Okay, so I would like to take a minute to just talk about this deal before we bring on any callers. Again, link in the description. There's no link in the description. Hang on, let me just write the link in here. Periodically, I'll write it in. So in terms of what you got back in this, some people are very upset. We're doing a poll right now on YouTube, and you can definitely participate. The leading vote is 52%. I'm going to end this poll right now. 8% of you think we messed up really bad, but the vast majority of you think it's pretty much a B, right? So 51% say it's a B plus, 22% say it's it's a C or a D. So 29 to 30% of you think this is a really bad deal for the Raptors. Basically, if it's C, a D, or an F, it's a bad deal, depending on where you are. I'm going to try to give you the glass half full, glass half empty. Glass half empty, you're perfectly right and within your rights to believe that you definitely gave up the best player in the deal. You gave up the best asset in the deal. There's nothing coming back to you that by itself is even close to the value of Pascal Siakam. Make matters worse, he is absolutely going to re-sign in Indiana, as is the reporting, as was literally everything I've been saying for the last 3 weeks. He'd be crazy not to. He's not letting go of that 5th year. Yes, he absolutely... Lance losing his mind in all caps, saying that's why Scottie was underperforming. He was sad. Yikes. Yeah, okay. Scottie should, I hope that, I'll send something over shortly, but he'll perk up real soon. The Raptors got some very interesting pieces back, and we'll talk about those, but I just want to talk about first, what they potentially left on the table by not moving Siakam earlier. I think that there was a growing sense that the league and Pascal Siakam were almost working together to completely screw over the Raptors in this case, right? Siakam comes out playing the way he does, not necessarily going into the stratosphere of all NBA. The Raptors struggle. He struggled in part. He's played really well the last couple of weeks, right? And what's interesting is I believe that he sort of played himself into this deal. Because one of the big concerns in a pace and space offense is, with Tyrese Halliburton, is how do you operate without the basketball? Now, to every single person who at the start of the year was complaining about Pascal Siakam's off-ball role, which is more centered around Scottie Barnes being on ball, please understand that Darko Rajakovic and Masai Ujiri, as I told you, were exhibiting and putting him on exhibit or exhibition. It was an exhibition to other teams to see what he could look like next to a prototypical A1 player. And you can, of course, if you're the Indiana Pacers, you can be like, okay, Tyrese Halliburton, way better than Scottie Barnes. He'll be even better than he is over there. But the concept of Pascal Siakam dribble ISOs and, dominates possessions and takes 29% usage, you actually have to now wonder, if you're a rival general manager, rival president, how will he fit into a pace and space offense where he doesn't have the ball all the time? Well, guess what? Thanks to Darko Rajakovic's offense, that basically whole thing that everyone's been complaining about, all these super smart people that I'm not going to call out by name, those are the people that have been complaining about the Raptors exhibiting him in this thing because they can't see past what is immediately in front of them. They can't see the next move. This is what defines bad chess players. This is what defines bad general managers. When you can't see the next move, you're missing the plot. The plot here was Pascal Siakam was never going to make it to the trade deadline. He's too big an offensive piece to implement that late. This is not a Rasheed Wallace, a Marc Gasol. This is not an OG Anunoby. You can't do this with 20 games, 30 games runway into the playoffs. If you want to compete with this guy, and I told you, the Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, the Golden State Warriors, they all had really strong incentives. Now, it's one thing for teams to drive the bargain against you, which is what everyone was reacting against. The Raptors have no leverage. This was never the case. He was always going to resign. Now we're seeing a lot of kumbaya stuff about, he's, excited about the new opportunity with the Pacers and whatever. Yeah, they hold his bird rights, which means that the only team that can offer him the 5-year deal. He's not going to go there and sulk. He wants that 5th year. You need to find leverage. Okay. So now that Pascal Siakam has been traded and the Raptors have gotten back 3 first-round picks, which are going to excite a lot of people, but I think for probably the wrong reasons, because you're probably anticipating the Raptors are going to use all those picks on players, and I don't think they are. Number one, again, plot, meet, okay? Okay. Number 2, you're probably not very excited about Bruce Brown or Jordan Nwora or Kira Lewis. I'm pretty sure if I asked Raptor fans yesterday, who is Kira Lewis, I think I saw like six comments saying, what is Kira Lewis? Now, I'm not about to tell you that Kira Lewis is some amazing player. I mean, he's 22 years old and he's a former lottery pick. And he went, by the way, as a lottery pick, he was picked by probably one of the best drafting general managers in the league. Okay. The Pelicans don't screw up a lot. Now you can point to Kira Lewis and you can point to Jackson Hayes and you can say those are blunders. But I think that there is a little bit of development juice left in Kira Lewis. He is a very interesting athlete in my opinion. In terms of Bruce Brown, heavily underrated player. Okay. A real winning player. And I'm talking every stop he's been at, Nets, Denver, this guy wins. Okay. If you want to say like this is a replication of the Rudy Gay trade, this is absolutely a replication of the Rudy Gay trade. Jordan Nwora, Nigerian roots. Okay. As always to be worth mentioning. Whenever the Raptors are interested in someone with Nigerian roots at all, there's always that element of, do they know more because Masai has followed it longer? And do they have more intel? This is always a competitive advantage, Like if you're a Seattle-based podcaster, you have more understanding of Seattle-based players. Makes sense, right? So if you are the king of Africa basketball, you clearly have a better understanding of players of Nigerian descent. And Jordan Nwora is that. And I think that in terms of just shooters, you need shooters, he's a pretty damn good one. He's a 38% three-point shooter on his career. He's 25 years old. And yeah, he's not really much of a defender. And I'm not really sure he projects to be much more than a role player. I'm not sure any of these guys project to be more than role players. But guess what? You have Emmanuel Quickley and you have Scottie Barnes. You needed role players. You needed NBA players who could actually play. You got one. You got one for sure in Bruce Brown. And I don't believe that unless something else breaks right now about him being jettisoned to a third team, he has a very interesting contract, which I think provides excellent value to the Raptors, which means that you can use him in one of two ways. Okay. The flexibility provided by Bruce Brown's contract and a slight overpay that he took with championship equity is that he has a team option for that second year, which is next year, which means that next year he becomes a very large expiring and you can trade him at the draft, which means that he is trade eligible at the draft. And guess what? It's a draft in which you have 3 picks. Think about it. Everyone is very concerned about the pick that you're going to give up inevitably to the San Antonio Spurs, which is probably going to end up being, at this point, anywhere from the 10th pick to the 16th pick, depending on how this season goes for the Raptors from this game onward. Okay. I believe that at the deadline and also at the draft, these 3 picks, these first round picks that the Raptors have acquired, as well as their boatload of expiring players, which includes Gary Trent Jr., Otto Porter, Thaddeus Young, assuming somebody gets waived here. I'm not sure who's going to get waived or who's going to get traded at this point, but we'll see because the Raptors did take in 3 and they're putting out 1. So unless Jalen McDaniels is being shuffled off prayers somewhere else, you're probably going to get a bit of a logjam here. And okay, so the point here is you need to trade. You actually have pieces to trade at this point, and there will be sellers at the line. There will be sellers at the deadline. There will be a lot of teams like the Atlanta Hawks, DeJounte Murray, right? Do you want DeJounte Murray on this team? Because that might just be, if you look at it, DeJounte Murray might just be eligible for 3 first-round picks, Grady Dick, and some stuff. I'm not suggesting trading Grady Dick. I'm just saying that's the type of package that could sweeten the pot enough. Expirings plus Grady Dick plus 3 first-round picks is the type of deal that gets it done for DeJounte Murray, in my opinion. Okay. Gary Trent Jr. plus 3 first-round picks is a crazy haul for somebody, especially if he can start playing better after this trade. Worth noting. Dennis Schroeder plus Jakob Poeltl plus 3 first-round picks is a really, really enticing trade package. So don't look at these 3 first-round picks the way most people look at these 3 first-round picks of like, oh my God, we're going to get a whole bunch of young players. You may only use one of these picks. I'll give you another advantage to having these 3 picks. At the draft, I'm assuming that enough time has passed at this point from the start of this season to now where the Toronto Raptors have had a good chance to scout this draft. They have now traded for 3, count them, 3 picks between the ranges of 31 to potentially 18, which means that between 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, the Raptors own 3 picks this year. That will be the 2 picks they got in this draft and the 1 pick they got in the New York draft. Do you know what this signals to me? This signals to me that they have a target. They have a player that they really want in this draft who currently is mocked in that range. Think about it. And once you get to the trade deadline, you will know which of those picks is trending to be the highest pick, and you probably trade the other 2. This is a very long-term thinking move, okay? Now, to the implications of the roster, we didn't get Jalen Smith. Boo-hoo. I'm sad about it too. I like Jalen Smith. You didn't get Jarris Walker, which would have been your prized possession. Oh my God. This is very, very much like Kyle Lowry leaves and we draft Jalen Suggs. This is a very, 1-for-1 way of thinking about this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Raptors get an A+ for this deal. I will, however, tell you I believe they get an A for this deal. The Pacers also get, by the way, I think the Pacers get an A+ for this deal. The Pacers won this deal for their side, but the Raptors won this deal from their side. This is the true definition of a win-win. Now, when I reacted to the New York trade, I came out and I said the Raptors fleeced the Knicks. I think the Raptors fleeced the Knicks there. I love OG Anunoby a hell of a lot more than I like Pascal Siakam. If you follow this channel for any amount of time, you know that. That being said, this is absolutely a huge win for the Indiana Pacers. You have absolutely paired Tyrese Halliburton with the perfect four. And I know this goes way back. Now, I understand Kevin Pritchard very well, and I understand the Indiana Pacers and their entire front office pretty well, and how they think and how they move and how they just tends to be like the player that I love, they really love. They traded for Tyrese. I was like, boom. They drafted Jarris. Boom. Ben Mathurin kind of screwed me up a little bit, but most of the players on the roster, I get their team building philosophy. Pascal Siakam is the perfect fit next to Tyrese Halliburton. They needed it. It makes them so much more dynamic. It makes Tyrese very dangerous. And from the Raptors side, the only downside you can say is you made two teams ahead of you in the East way better. The New York Knicks are better, and the Indiana Pacers are better. The Raptors deserve a lot of credit for not being zero-sum thinkers about this and being petty and saying we're only going to deal with the Utahs and the OKCs and the San Antonios of the world because we don't want to bolster our competition. I think trusting in what you're doing as a team is much more important because you don't know where things end up with the other teams. So trying to control things that you can't control, whether or not the Knicks are going to form a super team now that they have OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson. Did you just arm them with the perfect Swiss Army knife? Whatever. Did you arm them with the ultimate Scottie stopper? Oh my God, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with now this insane transition offense that's now ahead of you in the standings? You have to play these teams, right? A lot of GMs would absolutely hijack their own thinking and try to push that ego. And for the Raptors, it's all about us. It's what you're doing. It's what we're doing. And so what the Raptors get back here, let's talk about the players. You get a young prospect, I believe, in Kira Lewis. I'm not going to tell you I'm super high on him. I'm not even going to tell you that he's going to be in the league in 3 years. I am, however, telling you that I really have been harping for quite some months now about the development staff that you have here. And I didn't have a lot of faith in Malachi Flynn's development juice at the beginning of this year. I remember saying I would waive him in a second to keep Jeff Doughton. I have a lot more faith that Kira Lewis projects to be the type of guard that if you could harness some of his stuff, that you're building now pieces in your team that makes sense within your offense. There's going to be a lot of basketball growth that's going to happen for him, for Jordan. Okay. But I think that you have pieces that are not disruptive to your offense. Kira Lewis is not a disruptive player to your offense. Jordan Nwora is not a disruptive player. They both had questionable shot selection from time to time, but neither one of these guys is coming in to be like the man. Okay. Sometimes less is more. Patrick Patterson didn't come here to be the man either. John Salmons and Gravis Vasquez didn't come here to be the man. They knew they were coming to DeMar and Kyle's team. You need buy-in. Now, the ultimate win for the Raptors and why I put this as an A or an A- for the Raptors, depending on how you feel about those picks. I mean, maybe some part of this is a variable of like, okay, like you've traded for 3 hypotheticals. Let's see what those 3 picks turn into. Okay. Like right now, like if you manage to leverage, somehow you convert these 3 picks and add something down the line and Grady Dick or something, and you get like Lauri Markkanen at the deadline because we know Trader Danny loves them picks. And if you can give him a Grady Dick to put in Utah, and I'm not trying to lead some Grady Dick go trade, but Lauri Markkanen's a hell of a haul, right? If you end up using a couple of these assets to get something bigger, I think the trade morphs into maybe an A+ from the Raptors side. Because I don't think Pascal Siakam was going to come back. I think the Raptors are going to be used as leverage to the highest competitor. And they were either going to have to do one of 2 things that they didn't want to do. And that's really the negotiation tactic that was used by Pascal Siakam's side. I'm going to try to warn you guys the whole time. He was either going to get a 5-year deal that they didn't want to give. And I think that some teams might have had some trepidations about, trading for him on a 5-year deal if he regressed even a little bit. The other thing that, you would have done is you would have lost him for nothing. and that would have been terrible too. So from the Raptors locker room perspective, there is now a breath of fresh air in that locker room. You're getting a bunch of young players who are hopefully hungry to learn and grow and to be given a new chance in a different system. I hope that they come in with this understanding of this is what it means to be Raptors. And guess what? They're going to get their marching orders, hopefully not from Dennis Schroeder. Hopefully it's from Scottie Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. You have cleared the path for these three young players that you're building around now to really take the reins. There's no Pascal Siakam, all NBA champion man to save you and bail you. It's on you now. Scottie Barnes, there's no Pascal Siakam to defer to when you feel like you don't want to take 20 shots tonight. Pascal's got it. You don't have that anymore. You're taking a safety net away. You're also taking a guy who hasn't played defense all year away. I promise I'll end this on a very positive Pascal note because I do empathize with people for whom he was one of their favorite players. I get all of that. Please understand this is not shit posting on him or whatever. I posted earlier that my level of respect for Pascal Siakam as a player is a 10 out of 10. My level of respect for him as an entrepreneur, a leader, all that stuff is maybe a 7 out of 10. I think some of it was not so great. My level of respect for his super fans and super stands and it's like 0. So y'all can pack out. But to those of you who had just an appreciation for the man and what he became, I'm with you. I have a lot of appreciation for him too. And I promise I'll share that right at the end of this rant. I think that the Raptors at the 40-game mark are being gifted an opportunity to sink or swim. You're going to find out a lot about who Scottie Barnes is. You're going to find out a lot about who RJ Barrett is. I think you're going to find out a lot about who these young players that you've just acquired are. I think you're going to find out a lot about IQ and Emmanuel Quickley. I think you're also going to find out a lot about where this team is really headed. To those of you who want this team to tank now that Siakam is gone, I will bet you any amount of anything that this is not a move that signals a tank for the Raptors. I know that you think it signals a tank, but you don't bring in a player like Bruce Brown if you want to tank. You just don't. You take in a Buddy Hield and you waive him if you want to tank. You don't take Bruce Brown if you want to tank. No, Bruce Brown is the type of player that helps you win, and he is the type of guy who has a contract that is convertible, which means that if he has a terrible season with you and he's a horrible fit, you don't pick up his option. If you do pick up his option, it becomes a very big expiring. He is a fantastic, fantastic player and a really, really, from what I've gathered throughout the years of watching him, a very good person. He's going to fit perfectly. He's also a player who played last year with Nikola Jokic, starting to understand what the Raptors are trying to do here with Scottie Barnes. He's also a pretty decent point of attack defender who's very versatile as a defender, has a pretty plus wingspan. Kira Lewis is another guy. He's a big guard. Do you know Kira Lewis's draft comparison? Anyone want to guess? It was Dennis Schroeder. So the Raptors have a type, and they're doubling down on that type. And they're building a basketball team that makes sense to me for the first time in 4 years. So salute to that. To the Pascal Siakam, kudos and appreciation to you, sir, for working your ass off every single day, for being a source of inspiration to a lot of kids in Africa, for being a source of inspiration to a lot of kids here. Certainly, if I was young, I can only imagine the players that I looked up to when I was young. Pascal Siakam, if I was 15 years younger and I was coming up as a hooper, I think I would be watching Pascal Siakam mixtapes every single day. A very skilled player, a very good player, an extremely hard worker, a total rags to riches story, a proof of concept that you can just work and you can rise out of anything. A phenomenal Toronto sports story, just like Fred VanVleet was a phenomenal sports story. It's a heartbreaking, thing that we are going to see the end of the initial We the North era on the same night that we fight back-to-back games against the two guys who started We the North in Kyle Lowry tonight and DeMar DeRozan tomorrow. Both of them are here in Toronto right now. I believe DeMar and the Bulls flew in today. So they will both be here for that. To the Pascal Siakam side, he seems excited about this new journey, and I wish him well. I pray that when the Raptors face the Indiana Pacers, that Scottie Barnes does not sign a jersey to him saying, I wish you the chip, top 5. Because if that happens, a snap. But I wish him well. The Indiana Pacers, one of my favorite teams. I'm very, very happy for them. They have pushed the chips into the table, and they have really shown their star player and their coach, who's Rick Carlisle's one of my favorite coaches. I'm very excited for him as well, because he got a lot of flack for that shit in Dallas. And I've always maintained that he's one of my favorite coaches in the NBA. He has some real dogs and pieces to work with now. Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, and Tyrese Halliburton. That's a sneaky conference finals team. That's a very, very good team with a lot to prove. And look, Tyrese Halliburton put the bat signal on during the in-season tournament. If you know. If you know, you know. And his teammates were all on red alert. And you could see that you were seeing like a gradual malaise, not only for the Raptors, but also for the Pacers, that something's about to drop. Because this guy's put up the bat signal. I'm ready to win now. Get me a guy. And it's like, whether you're Buddy or whether you're Bruce Brown or whatever, you knew any deal for a star, you're going the other way to make contracts match, because God knows Miles Turner ain't going anywhere. So I think for that team now, you're going to watch them go on a heater. You're going to watch them go crazy. To the Raptor fans out there who are going to spend the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, driving everyone mental over Pascal Siakam's box score dominance and the Pacers' success, shut up. I'm going to tell you to shut up in advance. Enjoy it. Root for it. Don't be jealous of it. Don't be envious of it. It wasn't going to happen here. This is like looking at an ex thriving in her next relationship. She's an ex for a reason. Let it go. You got to let it go. You don't have Tyrese Halliburton. You don't have Miles Turner. You don't have the pieces they have. You're not that team. So however he does there is what he does there. He wasn't going to do that here. And look, if he ends up being worth every penny of that 5-year max they give him this offseason, I will apologize. But I don't think he will be. That's my honest take. I don't think he will be. But they have a real player right now in Tyrese Halliburton who is worth multiples more than what he's making. And just like the same argument that existed for Nikola Jokic, that, you got to max out these guys around him, even though they're not max players. The same thing exists for Tyrese. You got to max out Pascal Siakam, even if there's some growing thoughts about what's that 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year going to look like. You do it to maximize the window, and the window for the Indiana Pacers starts now, right now. And it will be open so long as Pascal remains in his prime and Tyrese remains healthy. That's it. It's going to be 3 years, 4 years of Jason Kidd leading the New Jersey Nets level stuff. Okay. The league is very talented. Does that put them over the Celtics? Is this too soon? Is this premature? Is he the right I don't know any of that. What I do know is Pascal Siakam fits. If I was running the Pacers, people consider me a bit of a Pascal, not doubter. I would have traded for Pascal Siakam too. If I'm the Pacers front office, I do this deal 10 times out of 10. If I'm the Raptors front office, I do this deal 10 out of 10. This is the ultimate win-win. All right, let's bring on some people. We got Michael, we got Coach Mo, we got Still God's Plan, Jonathan Convoy. What's up, guys? You don't see yourself on screen yet. Hang on one sec. What up?
What's up? What's up, Rob?
What's going on, Michael? Thoughts?
Man, I gotta say, I got 3 words, right? I got relationships, culture, and picks, right? So, and every relationship, like you touched on it at the end, and I love that. It's kind of like a perfect segue. It's like when it comes to relationships and you genuinely care about that player, you want him to thrive, you don't then translate it to how it affects you. And that's a very selfish thing to do if it was like a ex-girlfriend or whatever. It's like, I want to make your thriving about me. And like, I just want to like wish success on Siakam, but it comes down to the second word, which is culture. And like, we're trying to build something here. and that relationship, it soured at the end. Obviously, a little bit heartbroken. What was a word that was used when he heard that he wasn't getting the extension and whatnot? But guess what? Things. It's not like I hated our time together. No, but our time is up. And that's where I kind of look at it from a culture standpoint. I'm like, we're moving in a different direction. We have a different idea of how we want to play. It's been up. Yes, exactly, Mo. And the last thing I want to say is just like in terms of the picks, my friends would always like laugh at me when I'm playing fantasy. They're like, yo, like, why'd you make that move? You took a step back. I'm like, I made a trade to make a trade. I got someone that you didn't want to get rid of, but somebody else wants, and now I can give that to that person. When it comes down to picks, what it is you have a potential of value, whether it be a player, like you said, there's a range. We're targeting somebody, but we also have ammunition. Do you want somebody? Do you have somebody in that range? We have what you need. See, now you have leverage where you turn something where everyone's saying, oh, he doesn't want to be there. We're not giving them anything. You got Bruce Brown now. You got a couple guys as a little pet project. And you've got 3 firsts that you can use to go grab whoever you want to grab and also attach as ammunition to grab somebody else that you wouldn't have been able to get in this Siakam deal. For me, that makes it a huge win from the Raptors' disposition. And obviously from the Pacers' disposition, this starts your window now. Let's go. Let's do it. Former champion, bring him in. Let's get it going. I love this deal. I give the Raptors an A- because in my mind, did we get the perfect prospect? Was it A+ perfect? Not really, but I am very happy with what we got, and it's A- pending additional moves. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. I agree. Why is everyone saying in the chat RIP? Who are you RIPing?
Oh, the coach for the Warriors passed away.
Assistant
Milojevic.
coach.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like it was sudden.
Wow. Well, rest in peace there to his family. Coach Mo, I feel like you're about to spit fire. So I'm just go to Jonathan for a second here and just get get your perspective on it real quick.
Thank you for sparing me following that up. First of all, to the first caller. I didn't catch your name, but
it's Michael.
Michael, nice to meet you. I saw you last night. You were very well spoken. I appreciate your knowledge of the game and how you share facts so willingly.
Thank you.
I'm of the same mind. I picked A+ because A- wasn't an option. I'm super happy for Pascal. Like I don't know how anybody couldn't be happy. He's got a legitimate shot to do something that he wants to do. He's going to be playing with some amazing players, and it says a lot about you as a fan if the first reaction that you have is negative, right? Because you're immediately throwing away everything that we enjoyed with this man, everything that like was so feel good about where he came from, how he developed into who Spicy P is.
Yeah.
Just be thankful and be excited about what we have like in the wings. And for fuck's sakes, sorry about the swear, but can people just seriously lay off of Masai finally? Like just let it go.
They won't. No,
I know,
but like this is gonna be like Coach Mo. Okay, there's been a lot of kumbaya stuff. Okay, I was a little bit kumbaya. Yeah. Michael was like very, very level-headed. We got Jonathan Convoy basically like, yo, everyone, let's hold hands. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach Mo, rip. Fucking tear this whole shit up. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of these good vibes.
After watching the last game and Siakam's effort, and then around midnight, news breaking, I was like, there is no way the Toronto Raptors are going to trot out Pascal Siakam tonight. That would have might be the most pathetic effort anybody has ever seen, the most disinterested player anybody has ever seen. I could have bet money they would have traded him before tonight's game.
Oh yeah.
He was already a dead man walking, and then trades are escalating, and you're going to trot him out. They were never going to play him. Even if the trade didn't go down, I think they would have just sat him out.
I think there's just such a risk of playing a player who is this close to being traded.
Yeah.
For the potential injury risk of it. Like I would have held him out, and I think like that would have completely lit the world on fire, because if you just hold him out of a game that you absolutely have to win. Now the Raptors, You know, it's tough. Okay, let me paint the picture. Let me identify 4 teams that are ahead of the Raptors that they absolutely need to catch or absolutely need to make up some ground on. Okay. Team number 1, the Indiana Pacers. You just made them way better. Way better. Okay. Team number 2 that you need to catch, the Chicago Bulls. You play them tomorrow without Siakam. If you lose that, this could be like really close to curtains. Team number 3 you need to catch, the Miami Heat. You play them tonight. This could be a hangover loss. Oh my God. You know, our leading scorer left. Or this could be a real like punch it. You know, punch the clock. This is the start of something. We the North part 2 starts right now against Kyle and DeMar. Change the story. Y'all started this shit. We're taking it to the next level. Y'all won 1 championship. We're about to win 6. Okay? Dynasty starts now. That will be my message.
Bro.
If I was a coach, a very over-caffeinated mini Darko Rajakovic, I would just be like, yo, no hangover tonight. He moved on. Y'all can grieve after the game. Win this game. We need this. Now this whole cloud over our heads of who's going to stay, who's going to go. In fairness, I'm saying it's gone. It's not gone. There's still like 4 guys, dead man walking on this roster.
Yeah,
and the sooner you clear them out, probably closer to the deadline, the better. Moving on from that, you know another team you have to catch and make up ground on? The New York Knicks. That's 4 teams, 2 of which you face, 2 of which are way better today than they were a month ago, partially because of you. So this is tough. Do you think, I'll open it up with Michael, do you think the Raptors will be better somehow?
I mean, for me, it depends on the time horizon. For me, in the immediate future, like we're gonna have that. Okay, you have a guy who has a certain amount of usage rates in the 20s at least. It must be in the mid 20s. Who gets the ball? Who gets it when? I want to really monitor RJ's efficiency and how much it stays up. Now that you're moving up in terms of your like
order.
the role, your pecking order, exactly. Thank you. And like when I see those things, I'm like, okay, now we know what we're cooking with. So I want to really kind of wait and see. But in the immediate, my gut feeling is, if we can also get rid of someone like a Dennis and we can get some more of these guys out of here, we'll be better off 100%. In the immediate, we're going to probably take a couple steps back. This season's going to become a bit of a wash if you had any aspirations to make any real noise and overtake those teams you mentioned. But better in terms of culture, yes. Better in terms of record, no. That's where I'm at.
Okay, cool. Okay, Jonathan, do you think we will be better?
Yeah. I'm not as eloquent, but yeah, 100%. There's I've been waiting for it to be over or extended, like I think everybody has, and it's got to feel good for the players, specifically, we'll say Scottie, who have a clear direction. And I think obviously like Masai is probably talking with the players, letting them know what like the vision is going forward, whether that's vision, I think somebody said 6.5 earlier, whatever that vision is. I think the course correction has already happened.
Right.
And I think if you like ball, you're going to be really excited about what we could see on the floor, like as soon as tonight.
I agree. I think you get, weirdly enough, I think you get a lot less ball centric, if that makes sense.
Yep. Because there's a specific piece that is very ball centric, and we've moved away from that. And I'm very, very, very happy to see that, because you can't implement when you have a piece that big that commands that much time. You can't institute what Darko was preaching at the beginning of the season.
I agree. And you know what? When you talk about 0.5 basketball, I think you got a couple of players that really, really could learn it, are young enough that they can be part of it. And in the case of Bruce Brown, is absolutely the definition of it. I think he is a very, very smart player. And Coach Mo, we get better or worse, man?
I mean, we lost 4 in a row and we're 10 games below 500. We are 12th in the East. If we go any lower, we're Charlotte. I don't think we can get worse. I mean, we're pretty bad. We've been losing every game. We've been on moral victories for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So at worst case scenario, we're about the same. And I think we can catch Brooklyn and Chicago and Atlanta. I don't think they're world beaters. I think they have their own issues, and they haven't made trades to fix chemistry or anything, right? They're just sinking ships with no help, right? There's no rescue mission for them. At least theoretically, this is a rescue mission. So
yeah,
I think we're on the right track.
I agree. And I'm gonna send Jeff this because I think it would be really funny for him. Like that we are so far removed from Jeff Doughton getting waived, and we still have a super sticker here saying still time to trade Dennis and get Doughton back. Has a two-way player, who barely played, ever made this big an impact on a particular community and a particular franchise fan base? I love it. Thank you so much for the super chat. More so what you said than what you donated is very important to me. Anyways, that being said, Cena, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the trade? And do you think the Raptors got better? And do you see anything? Do you see anything in terms of development juice for these other guys?
I like Kara Lewis. Like I see a lot of potential in him. I think he could slide it into that backup point guard position really well. That is if he's the third guard in the rotation after Schroeder. But I like Kara Lewis. Like Jordan Nwora, like he's had some flashes. He's got some offensive flashes. And Bruce Brown, like you said, super underrated player. He's a winner. And 3 first-round picks, that's crazy. I mean, whatever, 15 to 25 zone. I mean, at least you have that leverage, and I think it's an A. I think it's an A for both. A+ for Pacers and A for us for sure. Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched every Raptors game this year, but lately the defense has been a little lackluster, and but also like you do have a competent defender in Bruce Brown, and then you also have like offensive weapons now, and Kara Lewis is in his 4th year, I think, and then Jordan Nwora is going into his 4th or 5th year, I believe. So like they're on the same timeline as for Scottie. So like 23 to 25. So like
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I like it, to be honest. I mean, Jalen Smith would be nice. Don't get me wrong, but I think,
I like my only beef with this entire trade, and if I'm being completely honest, is the fact that they didn't get a lot of defense back.
Yeah,
they didn't get a ton of defense back, but in fairness, they also didn't send a ton of defense out, which is worth noting. Chad, what up, man?
How you doing? I'm quite happy about this. Little bit better than my proposed trade to the Nets, but
you mean the Knicks?
No, the Nets.
Oh, Vince?
No, the one I proposed with Ben Simmons.
Oh shit! Oh my god. Okay, sorry. People have proposed a lot of trades. I completely forgot about that. Yes, you're right. Ben Simmons.
But
oh my god. Okay.
We are still in a position to bring back Claxton. And that was my main purpose of putting that last trade together. So with all the expiring contracts coming off the books, we will have more than enough to throw an offer and bring him in. How do you feel?
This deal might not be complete. Nomadic Ivory saying, I just put the deal into Fanspo and it says the Pacers have to cut/send out $5.3 million more. They're under the cap. Does Fanspo factor that in? Like, I don't know how, if you're the Raptors, it's going to be like you're taking back even more. Like, how many players can you waive? You're not waiving that. The Raptors have a trade exception. There we go, Andre. Yes, they generated a trade exception in the Precious Achua deal.
I think that Fanspo
called it the Precious
incorporates it
Achua deal.
automatically. That's
Huh?
hilarious.
What?
But no, I think I'm pretty sure they apply it automatically on if you click the TE on Fanspo, they automatically applied when usable. I'm pretty sure they automatically put it in there. That's why I was nodding my head with the 5.3. I don't know who it would be, like a Obi Toppin to the Pelicans. I don't know what it is. I have no idea, but I'm not really sure. But when I click on the TE tab on the Fanspo, it says it's automatically applied already. So
I just don't think that the Raptors are done, and I also don't. I also don't think that you're going to have a situation where the Raptors are bringing in 3 rookies next year. It's just not happening,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is anyone feeling like jumping off because we're starting to have people piling in?
well, I'm good to
I'm
go.
off.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You guys feel free to come back if you want. We're probably gonna go. Like I want to say, we're probably gonna go until the game, but I think there's a lot to talk about here. So let's bring on Lane.
Jerseys.
Yeah. See you guys. Okay. Lane, what up, man?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Thoughts, emotions.
Yeah, I mean, I got 3 Siakam jerseys, which are now useless. It's not. I love it for him. I really do. I think the biggest loser in this trade, though, and I feel like it's a win-lose actually. So I don't want to say the biggest loser because I feel like it makes him better as a player. But Scottie Barnes, defenses are now going to zero in on him more than they did.
Good. This is good for him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a good test. But in the next 2-3 weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers absolutely plummet. Just because of, I hope not. But how many?
Let's make a friendly wager.
What's his defensive role?
Exactly. That's
like,
my worry.
That's more important than
I think, look, man, like organizational structures have fascinated me forever. I've talked about them ad nauseum on this like live and in these communities and for a long time. You are now the guy.
Yep.
It's one thing to say you're the guy, but you yourself think of Pascal Siakam as the guy, right? But you are now the guy. Can you imagine like pulling Michael Jordan into a team as a rookie and saying like, okay, Magic Johnson, you're on Magic Johnson's team now. How many years would it have taken for him to usurp Magic Johnson as the guy on that team? It's very difficult to come into a team that has a defined pecking order and then disrupt the pecking order. There's no disruption of the pecking order now. Although some people are still going to say this is RJ's team or something. If RJ scores 15 points or something, like, I don't know. But yeah, Andre, what up, man? I mean, like, I just, your mic is off, bro.
Sorry, I was just changing my shirt. Give me a sec.
Thanks. You could have said literally anything. Anyways, what I want to say is I think Scottie's numbers are going to get better. And that's just, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, he's been trending down for like 2 weeks now. Straight up. There's an overabundance of creation in the starting lineup. And I think the ball has gone away from him a lot. And I think right now, having, to anyone out there who wants a fantastic, and I know I'm praising my own work here a little bit too, but it was a fantastic conversation we had last night in the dead of night at like 3 a.m. And we brought on this podcaster from he covers the Lakers. And I met him in a Raptor space, and I was just like, this guy and I are going to have like a really good conversation about Scottie Barnes. And that conversation very much segues into this conversation of what type of players you need around him, connectors, finishers, etc. Right? You don't need more initiators around him or more you need finishers. You need play finishers and versatile players, versatile defenders. Bruce Brown is a guy whose point of attack defense is going to put Pascal Siakam to shame, in my opinion. Right? Yeah. Maybe he doesn't give you as much size, fine. But this is a guy who is really, really capable of, doing a lot of stuff with the basketball.
He's gonna guard like the opposing team's best like player 1 to 3, like point guard or small forward. He can guard all 3 of those positions. Yeah. Point guard shouldn't go small forward.
I guess what I'm the most worried about is how he's going to adjust, because he's probably going to see double teams at least 40-45% of the time down the court.
That's a good thing.
He's a great passer.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, but I'm wondering how he's going to adjust to it. I guess
it'll take time, I think, but
better than Embiid did. I'll tell you that much.
I think his numbers are going to go
people
up.
Are just gifted passers.
He's the guy in Toronto now. There's no way his numbers don't go up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, you do realize I've been telling you guys for like a year now. Oh, sorry, like 2 months now. Stop voting for Pascal Siakam for All-Star. This is also
Yup.
why.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to share my screen for a second and just kind of give you an idea of who Bruce Brown is as a player, as per the analytics, and just give you a clearer idea on who he is. He's not the best defender in the league. You're not getting.
Somebody said the swirly McFlurries are going to tank.
I feel like after
I
this,
think Bruce Brown.
you know what I'm gonna do
You
after
better pull
this
those off the
live.
shelves immediately.
After this live, I'm gonna go and get a McFlurry, and then I'm gonna come back and watch the game.
Smarties.
Smarties.
I
That's
tried
the go-to.
that McFlurry. It's not good, man. Too much.
Shout
chocolate.
out to Siakam though. I feel like he's gonna thrive in Indiana beside Halliburton.
He is. Okay, so here's an overall overview of Bruce Brown in a nutshell. Okay, through 5-6 years being in the league, very productive, a very decent track record, slightly, getting up there in terms of 3-point percentage, but not like a dominant 3-point shooter. Also not a terrible 3-point shooter, willing, smart, doesn't get to the line a hell of a lot, not a big attacker guy like that, right? But a very good connective piece. Okay, so speaking of the devil, last night I mentioned that we did a podcast with this guy, Sahil, and I found that he was like really insightful when it came to basketball. And I want to bring him on right now to just give us his take. Again, I appreciate other sides. Like I appreciate someone coming at this from a non-Raptors perspective.
Exactly.
Sahil, man, what's going on, bro?
Hey, man. Great to see you again. Feel like I just saw you.
Yep.
So I'm out at lunch and the news broke, and I just feel like I have some interesting thoughts. I mean, I know a lot of Raptors fans are displeased with the return for their franchise darling, guy who, was a big part of this franchise's history, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say that this is a positive outcome for the Raptors. You guys are in a different spot than you were a year ago. Everyone was saying that this trade should have been made a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Masai Ujiri's record. Like, he doesn't believe in tanking. He barely believes in missing the playoffs. So any chance there is to get back into the playoffs, he takes. Like,
Exactly.
it's just the philosophy of this Raptors front office, which I frankly don't dislike, because as a fan, I like seeing teams try to be good. Not every team's successful, but in general, I'm a fan. The thing I actually like about this deal is Bruce Brown. I know you guys are probably going to flip him for picks, but if and when
it's not so easy. It's not so easy because there's like a period of time that has to pass once a trade is executed, and I believe that time has already passed to make a deadline move.
I don't think that I think he can still be rerouted as long as they don't submit the paperwork.
Right, but I'm saying if that comes through like in the next couple of hours, then that's one thing, and I very, very much believe that was the holdup, to get that third team.
Yeah.
And I thought that was what stuck it up last night, and So
if that's the case, honestly, I'm a big fan. Then, see, I think what I am hopeful of is that you see a bit of the play finishing / connective stuff. So last night, Rob and I, had a good conversation about guys we think would fit next to Scottie. And we came up with a lot of these thoughts on who Scottie would be like, who we believe the Raptors should pursue. And one of the guys that I was considering, or at least his archetype, was a guy like Bruce Brown, a really on-ball, off-ball kind of fluid, dynamic, intelligent mover of the body and the ball is the best way I can put it. Like, I think Bruce Brown can definitely play for this basketball team. So I agree. Thought that I was workshopping was quickly Brown. I don't know if you can start Barrett in that lineup, but I suppose because you're paying the man $25 million,
I think you do.
Start him. Yeah, you might as well start him.
You definitely do.
So Barrett. I mean,
in defense of Sahil, he has not seen RJ Barrett play for the Raptors yet, so I think that might be adjusting your thought. But yes,
I've only caught a game and a half, which I don't feel like is enough to really give a thought on him. having watched RJ Barrett for his entire NBA career, in this lineup, I'd be looking for a bit of a wing stopper. And he, regardless of how much better he is as a Raptor, please don't tell me he's that already. So
he's not a wing stopper, and I
He's
think
definitely
we
not.
discussed it last night. He's not a wing stopper, but he's been competent.
Yeah.
He's been physical, and I think that if he gets cross matched on a bigger player, he offers you probably about as good a chance as most wings, if not any wings, on a much bigger player. Josh saying, when are we going to trade Matt Devlin, Jack Armstrong, and Alvin? This is the real trade we need. That's funny. Okay, I don't know what those guys are saying right now. To
really
the
quick,
specific
so
point,
Scottie as a helper in this lineup, to me, would be really, really fun. Now, the biggest question I have is like, do y'all start Jonte or Boucher or whatever it is? I think that the Raptors are well set up to see Scottie succeed for the future. What you're going to get from this point to the rest of the season is what you're basing every other projection of Scottie Barnes on. So I won't be watching tonight's game, but I will most definitely be watching tomorrow's game. And I am
it's gonna be fun. Look, like I
interested.
think like the thing with Bruce Brown is like he just came from a very high octane offense. He's played with some very smart players. He played off of some really good players. He's a really great rebounder, relentless rebounder, pretty decent defender, versatile as hell. You know, when you look at his overall, like what he does on the basketball court, he's a pick and roll ball handler and he's a spot up shooter. Like he does like 1 to 3 stuff, but it's like it's a very plug and play glue guy stuff. Like he is like, it would be very, very weird to say he's like a smaller Scottie Barnes, but he does a lot of Scottie Barnes stuff.
And that's exactly why I feel like Scottie Barnes will play really well with him, because someone made a joke in the chat yesterday. It was like point guard Scottie Barnes, shooting guard Scottie Barnes, like all 5 positions to be Scottie Barnes. But like realistically, that is a really good team. You get just like a bunch of
so
guys.
funny enough, like Asilo and I yesterday, we went back and forth on like what is the ideal team around Scottie Barnes. I very, very, very closely came to putting Bruce Brown on that list, but I ended up going with somebody else. My list was Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram, Scottie Barnes. Who the hell did I put at the 4? Can't even read my own scratchy writing. Oh yeah. Wait, who did I put here?
I think you had Chet at the 5, and then
I had Chet at the 5, and oh yes, I put Trey Murphy the 3rd at the 4. Right?
Lineup.
Yeah, it would be a crazy lineup. And this dude here put Tyrese Maxey. Who'd you have the 2?
I think I was running Keegan at the 2. I had
You had
supersized the lineup. And
you had Keegan, Scottie, Jalen Duren, and Lauri Markkanen. So interestingly enough, like the concept here is like I really, really desperately when I put Trey Murphy the 3rd, I very, very reluctantly was like, I was about to ask him, can I put another Scottie Barnes there? Right? Can I put another Scottie there? Like a guy who can pop to the above the break, run the floor, rebound, do all this small stuff that nobody, you know, one play he's your center, one play he's your point guard, one play he's your shooting guard, one play he's your small forward. I really like Bruce Brown as a basketball player. And you know what's really awesome? Bruce Brown just played with Nikola Jokic last year. Scottie Barnes wants to play the Jokic role. He has a player now who fits that.
Yeah, you
very
took the words
well.
right out of my mouth. That's exactly the moment the trade broke. That's exactly what I thought. I thought, ooh, I can't wait to see Scottie with Bruce Brown. It had nothing to do with Pascal Siakam on the Pacers. Frankly, great. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how it goes. I have
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
How it's going to go. I'm really interested to see how Hallie holds up on the defensive end and how his game shifts a little. Really, really interested. But my biggest thought was like, I can't wait to see Scottie with Bruce Brown. Like, this is where we find out, like, truly, this is where stars are made. It's like when you get the chance to up your usage from 22, 23, 24, 25, you hit that 28 to 30 range. This is where we find out.
Tyrese Halliburton's not even touching 28 right now. You don't have to hit 28. I don't think Scottie's got to hit 28.
No.
I think Scottie can be at 25. It's just the pieces around him make a lot more sense now.
I think in this lineup, this is where we find out how good he can be with.
I'm not mad at 28. I'm not mad at 28.
28 is Pascal Siakam at his absolute apex. You understand? 28 is crazy usage. Scottie doesn't have to be a 28% usage.
He doesn't have to, but imagine him with 28. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm just saying, like, as
Imagine him with the
experiment
ball
when
more in
he's
his
younger.
hand.
Exactly.
Well, here's
like,
the thing.
give
Like,
him a
if you,
shot while he's younger to get some of these reps in. And I'm not saying 28% usage as a pick and roll ball handler. I'm still in it with the thought process we had last night. DHO actions, pinch post, horn sets, that sort of stuff is where I think Scottie will likely be best. But I want the game to essentially flow through him. I want to see how good of an offensive basketball player Scottie Barnes can be. But I guess what I'm really excited for is him in this lineup as a defender is going to have to do quite a bit of cleanup. And that will probably like super speed his growth.
I agree. I think it just makes a lot of basketball sense to put smart basketball players around him. I think, smart basketball players with diverse lineups, like I like this idea. Like, so for instance, Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, like not necessarily the definition on them, but the actuality of them. You consider Emmanuel Quickley, one of his secret strengths, he's a screener, a really good screener, right? Very interesting player who can sort of flip the screen. You know what I mean? Like, he can flip the action and he can do something different. And it's like you have dynamic players who can do more than just two things on the basketball court. It creates like a really weird dynamicism when you have a smart player like Scottie helming your offense.
In
right?
fact, I don't mean to cut you off, Rob, but that the exact thing that I'm looking for Jarko to run in this last half of the season is I want to see Quickly use those ghost screens that he's really nice with. I can think of at least 3 plays that New York used to run with using him in that way that I just adored the way they were utilizing him to get Brunson some good looks. As well as Bruce Brown, he kind of built his name in the NBA being a roller off of being a short roll passer. That's kind of where he exploded onto the scene in the 2021 playoffs, if you guys remember.
Yeah, with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. So he has really good connective passing juice. I would love to see a lineup that has Scottie with the two of them and essentially running super inverted stack actions with spacing. Like this could be really fun for the rest of the year.
Let me cut you off for a second, sir. I think that putting a player like Scottie Barnes next to Scottie Barnes forces Scottie Barnes out of his Scottie Barnes-ness a little bit, if that makes sense. You have a guy who can set screens. You have a guy who can invert the pick and roll. You have a guy who can handle a little bit. You have a guy who can cut. You have a guy who's a smart, connective passer. Well, suddenly, does that allow Scottie to take some initiation reps that, by the way, you believe, maybe are not like, but what I messaged you earlier about like what I think the end vision of Scottie is, it's a player who can do both, can operate as your connective passer. So like your Pippen, but he can also do a little bit more of the kid stuff, the Jason Kidd, Magic Johnson stuff. And so that hybrid ability to be able to do both, I think makes you a very, very unique and special player. Naturally, the skill set is not there to do one. The skill set has been there for years to do the other. So instead of just doubling down over and over and over again on what you already do well and then trying to refine it, I think there is some potential now to have a guy in there like Bruce Brown, Jakob Poeltl, who does a lot of... Jakob Poeltl is a great connector, FYI.
I can't wait for this, man.
Right? But Bruce Brown is a great connector. Emmanuel Quickley has connective potential. Also, like, he's not necessarily the greatest initiator of a pick and roll right now, but man, like this guy, like if you get him the ball on the break, he's going to make the right read out of that, right? So you have a lot of guys. Thaddeus Young, there's like so many guys on this team. Granted, like not a huge part of the future necessarily, Thaddeus Young, but Christian Coloco, great short roll passer. What short roll passing? Connected passing. So everything around Scottie Barnes is being kind of bridged up to create this like, okay, so we're going to see a game where Scottie's going to take 15 threes again suddenly, right?
Yeah,
and RJ and Scottie are going to be forced into becoming whatever the hell they were supposed to be. I think these 3 guys are going to become whatever they can be, and then we can reevaluate it 20 games from now.
So
20 more games. You know what I mean?
just want to get a quick thought off, and then I got a buddy inside waiting for me. I don't
Yeah.
too long. But my last thought is, we were talking a lot yesterday about Scottie's modus operandi and like how his number one objective is to win right now. It's not so much like certain players are like, okay, this is what I need to do to get better. And so this is what I'm going to do in a game. And Scottie is very much a, hey, listen, I want to win. So I know Pascal's right now a better ISO player than me. So whenever we get into an ISO situation, I'm going to defer to Pascal. Oh, we're on the fast break. I see Pascal. We both have equal options. I'm going to give it to Pascal. He is different in those ways that I am a fan of. He does what is necessary to win. But now he has a guy who can do what he was doing for Pascal.
Siakam, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, that's a good point.
So now he can, the role that he used to defer to others is now going to be deferred to him, with RJ taking a couple of those.
Yeah.
ISOs.
I agree.
But again, I haven't watched him in Toronto. I can't wait to. But just been a
He's
little
better, man.
Yeah,
I'll sell you on it. Basically, everything you thought he couldn't do, and everything he did wrong, and everything
He's
he
doing
wished
it in
on,
Toronto.
he's doing it. Okay, the
this
shooting,
makes me so
the
happy
decision
because I
making,
love RJ
the basic read stuff. No, he's not turned into actual Kobe Bryant, no, at all. But man, this guy's doing some stuff. I understand he's had some hot stretches in New York where it's like, oh, maybe he's turned around. It wasn't quite like this, I promise. Anyways, Cutthroat Bob, man, stop it. Shut up.
I am
stop.
A little higher on quickly as a PNR ball handler than you are, and I'm interested to see. Like,
he's okay.
Honestly,
He's okay.
I don't know what Scottie's minutes are trending around. That is the only thing that is going to lead.
Played 41 last game.
41.
He's like in the 35 to 40 range. And that's fine.
As long as the staff is smart about maintaining his body over time, because as big and strong as any human is, time takes a toll and hits take a toll. So as long as the staff is smart about managing him, I am really excited about the rest of the season. I'm going to be tuning into a ton of Raptors games. I think we're going to have a lot of conversations about this.
Cool.
I'm going to sign out now, but
Peace, man.
I'm going to listen to the stream a little bit later and catch y'all thoughts. See you guys.
See you, man.
All right.
All right. I'm going to see if we can get Raps fan from Twitter on here at some point to talk about the draft a little bit. I don't know, man. You guys are probably focusing more on Twitter and stuff. What's your general sentiment about like how the Raptors fans are feeling right now?
Probably pissed.
I'm ticked off, man. I'm ticked off. I know.
I think like romanticism can delude a fan base. So I'm gonna play. Okay, this is gonna be very classless, but someone asked me to do this, and I said I was gonna do this 3 months ago. I said, when he gets traded, I'm going to play this for anyone who wants to forget what happened. So here you go.
Is it a low light?
Vince Carter will do that to you. Carter with 1.6. Scottie B backing in. Help comes late. Finish it. Drives quickly this time. Spins a couple of times in the lane a while. And couldn't convert. Siakam gets it back. Walks down Lopez. Season high. Pascal attacks the bonus to the bucket. And he misses at the iron. Siakam.
No, Ryan Raps Wob is stressing me out right now.
Pascal doesn't go. Wow. And watch practice. Trying to soak it all in. Pascal. Just got to get a stop on this end of the floor. Siakam, good hands there by
Damn the edits. So, look, I don't want to be classless and say that, but it is a promise that I made that, look, I believe if you look through this channel's history, I have earned my reputation as the guy who wanted Pascal gone. I think that's fair.
I'm going to defend Siakam a little bit here. I think Siakam was never a number one option in Toronto. We tried to put him in a number one option role, but that was just never him. And like he's done a lot for Toronto.
Sure.
He was the second best player in the 2019 run. Arguably third.
No, he wasn't. Don't be capping. No, he wasn't.
Second or third. There's no way he was. Come on. You don't think he was at least the third best player in the 2019 run? You're tripping.
No.
I would say Kyle was second at least.
No, Kyle was second. Okay.
Yeah. And then
Siakam.
Pascal,
There's no way it was not
Pascal,
Siakam. Siakam had big games in the playoffs.
Okay, let me ask you a real question right now. Okay.
Who do you think it was before I answer? Who do you think it was?
Who do you think it was? Who do you think I think it was?
Fred VanVleet.
No. Bro. You want me to pull up fucking like Marcus 8 hours of Fred VanVleet lowlights? No.
Who do you think it was then? In 2019, the championship run.
Yep.
Marc Gasol?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Marc Gasol.
There's no way.
He was defense. He was.
Let me rank out the players on that championship run. Scottie Barnes. Whoa. My bad. Okay. Wow.
Make it a tuition. That's what it is. Okay. Freudian slip, yo.
Kawhi Leonard. I was thinking Kawhi and Scottie in the same like archetype. Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, very, very close. Pascal Siakam.
I disagree.
Like tier. Then beyond that, I think you can split hairs over Danny Green and Fred VanVleet. You can definitely say Norman Powell, Serge Ibaka. There's a lot of fucking talent there. Now you gotta understand, shot finishers, shot creators, shot connectors, defenders, play finishers. There's a very evolved way to look at basketball that goes well beyond the box score. And I encourage anyone who's really interested in it to really research it. I think you're going to watch a player in Bruce Brown, just as you have been watching a player in Jakob Poeltl, do things that don't usually get like all the mainstream attention. We're watching RJ Barrett. You watching RJ Barrett? He's a play finisher, right? He looks great here, doesn't he? He looks awesome. Did he fall off the maple tree? What the fuck is making him so good right now? What's making him so good? Could it be that
we talk about Siakam in the 2019 run? He had huge games. He hit clutch shots.
Irrelevant.
He was a good defender. He did everything for you as a second or third option.
He was a very, very good defender. He was an elite cutter, play finisher, corner shooter. Okay. You're talking about a guy who had like who was budding on the precipice, and you're trying to compare him to a guy who was basically the second best defensive center in the NBA and one of the best passers in the NBA. Like in terms of what you needed for that team to work, if you took Pascal Siakam, let me give you an example. If you took Pascal Siakam out of that and put OG Anunoby into that, let's say you invert it, right? You think they don't win?
They don't win, no.
Okay.
I don't think OG Anunoby can create his own shot.
But you didn't need someone to create their own shot. That's the point.
I think you did.
No, you didn't, because you had so much. Okay, in fairness, yes, Kawhi can't play every minute for you, and so Siakam being a really important guy there. But a guy who can create shots for you on that team that would probably get elevated if Siakam was out, Norman Powell.
I don't think to the level that Siakam can. I don't think he could take that Siakam role for that team.
But that's the thing, bro. Like, I mean, you have a guy like Serge Ibaka, right, who creates a ton of havoc defensively. You have Marc Gasol who can unlock. You had a very sophisticated offense. You had Kyle Lowry. And I'm not suggesting that Kyle Lowry can take on the creative responsibilities of a Pascal Siakam as an isolation scorer, but not everything has to come back down to isolation scoring. Not everything. Right. Sometimes it just comes down to smart screens and back cuts. And, I understand that Pascal Siakam or something close to a Siakam would be relevant. But I tell you, you don't get out of the Philly series without Marc Gasol. You simply do not. It's impossible. There's no chance in hell. They were the more talented team overall. Don't want to hear that, but it's true. Okay. Think about that team. Just think about it. Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. You don't stop Joel Embiid without Marc Gasol.
I don't think
you
we win the championship without Pascal Siakam.
You don't win the championship without any of them. That's a non-starter.
I would say offensively, I think the reason why a lot of people think he's the second is because offensively he was great. But remember, it's about gravity, right?
He was also great defensively. It wasn't a one-way thing with him at that time. I just think that like when you talk about the replicability of skill sets, when I think about Pascal Siakam at that point, not the player he became later, but like the player he was then, so minus the playmaking. So we're talking isolation, downhill score, whatever. He was
cutting
basically
defense, all that.
Cutting defense. Okay. I could find more players like him in the NBA at that time than I could find players like who were better than him even than I could Marc Gasol's. That's my point. And I feel like Marc Gasol gets somewhat underrated, but like how important do you think Marc Gasol's playmaking was to unlock
extremely important and his defense? There's no denying that.
But that's my point. So right now, like the very next year and the year after and the year after, when Pascal Siakam had to play outside of the offense without those guys, his true shooting percentage dipped by 10%.
Yeah,
and he was more skilled
because he was never a number one. Siakam was never a number one.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I think the reason why people think of that is because those players pulled gravity away from him, so he could operate in a place where there isn't a lot of people looking at him.
Here's a really great question to ask.
Exactly, because he was never a number one.
Okay, let's just
Kawhi
see where you're at with this. Let's say I build a time machine, and instead of Pascal Siakam on that championship run, I have Scottie Barnes. Not the current Scottie Barnes. We're talking rookie year Scottie Barnes. I put rookie year Scottie Barnes, super smart, play finisher, occasional shooter, not a great shooter, but a good cutter, good rebounder. Can't really get his own off the bounce, but is good enough to get downhill a little bit. Smart player. I put him on that team next to Gasol, next to Lowry, next to Danny Green, next to Kawhi. Do they win a championship?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so are you going to tell me that rookie Scottie Barnes is better than Marc Gasol was? He is not. That's the difference. And that's my point. Because when you play off of great players, you look better. But
that was not Marc Gasol in his prime. That was Marc Gasol.
No. I know it was older, but you got to understand something about players that are outside of their prime window, but are still very, very much right on the cusp of it. In a playoff series, these guys can dial it up.
Marc
Gasol very, very good. So I'm saying imagine we saw Scottie playing off of Siakam. Imagine Scottie playing off of Kawhi. We saw Scottie playing with a table setter like Fred VanVleet, setting him up. Imagine him playing with Kyle Lowry. Start to see my point? We saw Scottie defending really capably as a defender with a backline help defender like Kem Birch. Imagine him playing with Marc Gasol. Yeah.
My point is Siakam, no matter how good Marc Gasol was very valuable to that team. Just everything he did. And I think it's hard to replace that isolation scoring.
It's not
as a second option.
But the isolation scoring is secondary to the overall value of Siakam in that. How many isolation sets was he getting?
Not that many, but he was just free-flowing in the offense, cutting.
Kawhi Leonard drew a double team, fadeaway three-pointer. Okay, just to give you a context of how 1 and 1B, the concept really was. I don't like people rewriting history. It kind of pisses me off. Kawhi Leonard preferred to take a fadeaway over Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, two of the top 10 defenders in the NBA.
That's my
fading
point,
away instead of giving the ball to Pascal Siakam for an open three. Just to give you an idea. But that's not what you're presenting here. That's not what anyone who talks about the subject is ever presenting.
My whole point is Kawhi Leonard, the first option.
Mm-hmm.
And Pascal Siakam was the second option on this team. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to say third, I'm not mad at third.
I'm not saying option. I'm saying the best player.
Yeah,
the option.
Second or third,
he's
player.
Absolutely the second option. He was a second shot taker, of course. But that doesn't mean second best player, because DeMar DeRozan took more shots than Kyle Lowry, and he was never a better player.
Never, yeah. Maybe 2018, but
no, never. Literally never, not once, not ever. I will never buy it. There was not one moment of DeMar's life where he's been a better player than Kyle Lowry until Kyle Lowry became old. That's it. And Kyle Lowry didn't become old here. So my point is, we don't value enough of what Kyle and Gasol.
I do.
And Danny,
Kyle Lowry is my favorite player all time.
Great. So I feel like general NBA fans don't value enough of what guys like Kyle and Danny Green and Marc Gasol do.
Serge Ibaka was huge as well. So I'll forget him.
Not in the same conversation, but sure. Yeah, he was great.
Come on. Serge Ibaka was amazing.
Like I feel like we need to stop this, bro. Like it's trending into I'm about to get real fucking pissed off. Like it feels like you want to come at this with like I know, and I'm trying to I don't want to get into the you don't, but like in my opinion, you don't. So let's just move off of it. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway,
could I jump in? And I wanted to
Go
give
ahead,
my
man.
opinion about the trade. I'm really disappointed with what Masai got. I was hoping that we could have gotten at least one of those blue chip young players.
You're very disappointed.
Yeah, because even the draft picks aren't too much to kind of to talk about. But I do like the Bruce Brown. I just hope that he is interested in staying with Toronto. Just because he did choose Indiana, is it not when he signed?
Not quite. He knew the deal when he signed that contract. He knew the deal. He took
He
the
knew he was
maximum.
going to leave.
He knew that he was going to be one of the most desirable trade assets in the league because of the optionality of it.
But to be traded to Toronto now, where
what's wrong with Toronto?
No, not saying
you
Toronto.
left Indiana to come to Toronto. This is an upgrade.
He didn't leave Indiana. Okay, what I'm trying to say is now, I guess he was in a playoff position with Indiana, and now he's going to a rebuild with Toronto. So how happy is he going to be here, come and join in a team that's not functionally together, and now even less functionally together? And I'm not very happy with the way the coach is kind of doing things. So now we're kind of like we're 16, where we have 15 wins. We don't have our draft pick this year because I don't think we're going to be bad enough to get that sixth pick, right? What are the options? We didn't even upgrade the center position at all. So it's like, what did we really do with this trade other than just gather assets? Is it to kind of do another step before trade deadline, or and also Masai takes so long to kind of make decisions anyways. So is it really truthfully a win here? I kind of feel like losing Pascal for what we got. We could have got him. We could have, if he had just made the decision to move him at trade deadline last year, it would have been better. I know everyone's, huh?
I didn't say anything. I fully disagree with you, but that's cool.
Yeah, I know you don't agree, but like that's what a lot of the fans are saying. It's like we're moving this player. I know you showed that video. It's sad, but whatever. It's like I think he was worth more than that. And
he was worth more.
I disagree completely.
Can I ask who's doing this weird breathing into the microphone thing?
It's not me. Oh.
I don't know, but someone is really breathing
Yeah,
hard.
I heard it, and I was like, someone saying something. Anyways, yeah, and a lot of the fans have been kind of talking about that. It's just like at least getting someone, But you know what? Let's see what Masai does. But I kind of feel like
it is the ultimate win-win trade for me. I'm not gonna repeat what I said earlier in the chat. If anyone wants to hear my initial reaction, I think the first 25 minutes you can scroll back. That's my initial reaction. I'm sticking with it.
3 picks and Bruce Brown for an expiring Pascal Siakam contract. He was most likely not going to re-sign with us. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, moves. If you don't mind, I'm kind of like underslept. And you keep saying stuff that is like driving me to the point of like I'm about to scream. I don't think you're right, bro. This notion, I don't know where you get your basketball takes from. I definitely know you didn't get them from me. You're telling me that he wasn't going to re-sign with the Raptors? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? We weren't going to get him?
No,
we were going to be like, here, 5 years.
We were not going to give him the 5 years. That's my point.
But that's a different conversation.
We were never going to
like
give
he
Pascal
wasn't going to
Siakam.
resign is he wasn't going to resign is not.
I never
the
said
question.
that though.
Didn't you say that?
No. I said he was not going to re-sign with Toronto because we did not want him. Is it yes or no? At this point,
he wasn't going
I
to
think he
resign
wants-
because we didn't want him. I don't
Yeah, we
think.
don't
I
want
don't think.
Siakam.
I don't think you
At this
said this,
point.
bro. I don't think you said the second part. But sure, let's leave that alone. That is neither here nor there. The team that traded for him knew, whether they were willing to admit it or not, that definitely he was going to resign there, or that they were going to have major leverage on that 5th year. I said it for weeks. Don't believe the bluff. Go back and refresh the takes. But like, it's a bluff. He's bluffing. And Pascal Siakam called the Raptors bluff on, we're not going to give you the 5 years. The minute the Raptors knew they weren't going to give him the 5th year, the minute they knew that he wanted it, they had a bargaining chip that he thought was his. That's the disconnect. He thought, I can control this situation. I'm going to go to free agency. I'm going to dare the Raptors to let me go for nothing or extend me to my 5 years. Now he has to go to Indiana and play out the whole situation with Indiana. And now he will be able to hold Indiana hostage for the 5th year, right? You got to cozy up to whoever has that 5th year with you, because the bird rights are the bird rights, and the bird rights are the significant difference at the end result of the contract. When he looks at his career back, like when he looks back on his career, he's going to be like, did I cost myself $65 million? That's what that 5th year represents. The raises plus that 5th year is $60+ million. Now, the Pacers obviously are making this trade with full knowledge that A, he will, and B, they will. That's it. You need two to tango. But this notion that some team like Atlanta was going to trade for him and offer him the world and he was just going to leave, fuck that noise. Never existed. Never going to happen. He wasn't going to pass up on that 5th year. And here's the thing. Let's say he goes to Indiana right now and they struggle. Let's say they can't negotiate the trade right now, or they can't negotiate the extension right now because they can only offer him 2 years. So this is going to be an agreement of let's work together. What happens if he goes to Indiana right now and he fucking tanks? Can't hit a shot. They suck. Let's say he, touch wood, I don't want it to happen. Let's say there's an injury. Let's say they feel differently about him in 2 months than they do right now. I don't think that will happen, but I'm saying, let's say now you approach the offseason. Now where are you at if you're Indiana? You still want to give him 5 years? Because that's your only bargaining chip. Otherwise, he's going somewhere else. That's my point. So you don't want to be Indiana in that situation. Now, I have already been on record saying I like this deal for Indiana, and if I was Indiana, I would have done it too. But they're going to be holding the backside of a bad contract, in my opinion. And the Raptors have a myriad of options that have suddenly opened up after this trade that they didn't have before. Because with Pascal Siakam, you had a $37 million hole burning in your pocket because it was like a ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? Like, that's pressure. It's pressure on your locker room. It's pressure on your coaching staff to exhibit this guy. You can't bench him. You can bench Bruce Brown, by the way. If you're Darko Rajakovic, you can bench Bruce Brown. You can bench Kira Lewis. You couldn't bench Pascal Siakam. If you don't want to play defense, you can't bench him because you have to exhibit him. And if you benched him, you tanked his trade value. First, I haven't mentioned it yet. I'm very happy for Darko Rajakovic. That is the one person I'm very, very happy for. Not usually something you would say after trading away the team's most talented offensive player or most refined, skilled offensive player, that you feel happy for the head coach. But this is finally going to be his team. He's finally going to be able to coach it the way he wants to coach it. And there's nobody here who's above being benched, including Scottie, including RJ, including IQ. Accountability starts today. And I have a feeling this team is going to be much better. I want to say much better. I think they're going to win more. I think, okay, we're at the 40-game mark. They're 15 and 25, right? I'm not wrong about that. That's 40-game mark. The next 40 games, I would bet dollars to donuts they will be better than 15 and 25.
Well, yeah, definitely.
And they'll be younger. Congratulations.
Do you think Siakam was like not taking on the role that Darko was trying to implement, or was Darko not prepared to have Siakam in the lineup?
It was both. There's so much shit that could have come out over the last month, 2 months, 3 months from training camp onward of behavior that was like, okay, like, you want him to do this thing on offense, you want him to do this thing on defense because you're trying to exhibit him. but you're also trying to win games, but you're also trying to develop Scottie. And it's just like, oh my God, this is hard. Like Darko aged 4 years because of this process, because they were trying to extract one extra pick from Indiana. The only complaint I have with the Raptors front office is if I could go back in time, I make this deal without one of those picks if you do it earlier. I would literally give up one of those picks and maybe convert it into a second round pick. That's how much I believe you cost yourself these 40 games that you played with him. You could have done so much more earlier. You didn't have to play this out. You didn't have to drag it out. Maybe the Raptors batted on Jarris Walker or someone like that becoming available, some team getting desperate, and they blinked right now. And I can see a lot of people saying this is a loss for the Raptors. I really get that. I really get that thought process that, oh, this is like a really, desperate move for the Raptors. They had him against the wall. 3 first-round picks. Now, I'm not selling you on the 3 first-round picks and what they're eventually going to turn into, but like, do you remember last year, OG Anunoby? What was the big talking point? They want 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby? What the fuck? Memphis, remember? Memphis dangling 3 first-round picks and stuff. And I always said, what are the picks, right? These aren't the worst picks in the world, by the way. The 2024 draft is really like a weird, like a mystery box draft. There's like a weird amount of, like, I'm not enamored with what's 1 to 6. I don't think there's a single like first overall pick there. And I'm not enamored with what's like 7 to 12. But I tell you, I've seen a lot of players in that 13 to 35 range that I'm like, these guys are actually good. And I'm very curious to know who the Raptors get. Anyways, Jeffrey, how's it going?
Hey, man. Hey, guys. I'm pretty sure I was the one breathing into the mic. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Don't breathe.
Yeah, I'll try not breathe.
No breathing.
I'm gonna try not to aggravate you anymore. And
Me?
I'll stay very straightforward and to the point because a lot has been said. I think we can all agree to varying degrees.
Bro, you're never going to aggravate me. What are you talking about? No,
you never know. Wait to hear what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
No. I'll stay.
You're gonna be like. He's gonna be like
spicy right now. This sounds spicy. I'm ready.
No. Maybe I'm overselling this.
No. Say what you gotta say.
I'll keep it diplomatic. It's
no. Please don't. Please don't. No. Say what you gotta say. Say it 100%. I promise you, I will not. I will not react to it.
Absolutely. Okay. So, even given the situation and the contract back against the wall, yada yada yada. Even considering that we got a great haul for OG and that we could afford, therefore, to take in less than Siakam's value, I'm still a bit disappointed. More than a bit, I'm pretty disappointed by the package. I was especially with all the young assets, secondary interesting assets, the Jalen Smiths and the Andrew Nembhard. Even if they didn't want to give Jarras or Benedict, fine. But Kira Lewis is negative value. It's just basically Jordan and Kira are expiring contracts. So okay, so maybe we can. I agree with what you said earlier when talking about Jordan, that perhaps we can rehab him and we can get some value basketball wise from him. That I can understand. He's a decent shooter and he's very young and he's shown stuff for sure. Mm-hmm. But I went back to Kira's stats before I joined the chat just to make sure I wasn't capping and wasn't just going off the rails. But yeah, like I don't see, and it'll lead to my secondary question. To me, Kira is not of any value, and I was hoping we'd get at least one potentially a future rotation young from the Pacers at some point. So it's a bit disappointing. But that being said, like you've said, I totally agree. It still gives us a lot of assets, or the front office a lot of assets to keep working, which is already great. It's what we need. We need to have tools to work with. The front office needs more tools to work with in the coming couple of years to keep working on that team around Scottie, around IQ, around our BBQ. So agreed. It's a workable package. It gives the front office more stuff to work with. But in terms of basketball, I was hoping we'd get Bruce Brown, which is a great, like a very acceptable, more than acceptable, a very a very good piece to add to Scottie and to our young core. He's got a lot of experience on top of being a really, really serviceable player. And so that's like a quality, actual, usable vet, you know, which we don't have so far. Unfortunately, Otto's been injured a lot. So that's great. But to me, Jordan and Kira are like, I mean, you might as well not give me anything. To me, I don't see any value in that.
Great.
It's just, to me, salary. Yeah.
I don't agree about I don't agree about Kira Lewis at all. I don't feel that way at all about him. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, oh my God, you got the greatest steal ever. But man, there is so much more to him. He was the 13th overall pick by a front office that genuinely knows what they're doing. He's 22 years old. He had 58% true shooting, if I recall correctly, last year. He posted a positive defensive box plus minus last year. Rare. Granted, not a lot of minutes, not a lot of opportunity. Guess what? That's what happens when you play on very decent teams that have players ahead of you, that are picked ahead of you, that are more valuable. You know, look, we had Malachi Flynn here for years. We took a swing this year to see what smiling Malachi could do for us. And guess what? Not a lot. Not a lot. Okay. Kira Lewis, in my honest opinion, has more potential today than Malachi Flynn did as a rookie. And guess what? He's just as young as Malachi Flynn was when he was a rookie. Yep. He has more athletic advantages. He has more size advantage. He has more wingspan. He is a lower usage player. He is a better type of player than Malachi. And if right now I'm looking at this from a what have you turned into what, I think you have to look at the bigger picture here. We're not going to use all these picks on players. I very highly doubt that we would try to surround Scottie, Emmanuel Quickly, and RJ Barrett with like 3 draft picks next year. Obviously, there's a target in that draft. There's something that we want to package together stuff for. And it may not be a clean deal. Like the cleanest deal that we could do is, so here's a question that I think maybe has not been asked, but probably should be asked. What if the Raptors had traded the following, the deal, okay? Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly. Sorry, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, plus Precious Achiuwa, right? For 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick that is going to guaranteed be a top 33 pick in next year's draft, plus RJ Barrett, plus Emmanuel Quickly, plus Bruce Brown, plus Kira Lewis, plus Jordan Nwora. How do we feel about that deal?
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, you know, like we're giving up Pascal, we're giving up OG. I think those are the 2 best players out of the whole trade, right? I think those 2 are the 2 best out of them, right? You said
Debatable. They're also 2 of the oldest players. They are the 2 oldest players in the trade too, FYI. Just an FYI. Right. OG Anunoby is 26. Pascal Siakam's 29. Bruce Brown's 27. So Bruce Brown's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Whoever is doing this thing with the microphone, please stop. Like whoever it is, just like don't touch the microphone or whatever. Or maybe put yourself on mute if you're not talking. It's very loud. So this thing about like he's better than. Well, okay, here's a question. Is Emmanuel Quickly better at 23 than Pascal Siakam was at 23? He's light years better than him. Or 24? Yeah. He's light years better. Is RJ Barrett a better player at 23 than Pascal Siakam was at 23? Hell yes, he is. So it's
we're talking about the now, right? I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just thinking about
not completely talking about the now. We're talking about the next 5 years. I think this has to be broadened out to a 5-year value. So let's say you play out the 2 timelines argument, not to borrow a term from Golden State lexicon, but 2 timelines, right? The 2 timelines is, number 1, you play the status quo and you extend Pascal and OG. Mm-hmm. You roll the dice with OG because you can't extend him now. You have to play it safe. Next year, training camp, 2 teams. Team number 1 You have Pascal Siakam at 50 million signed to a 5-year. Okay, whoever's doing this with the microphone, you need to stop. Like, please, for God's sakes, man. Okay, it's Cena. It's my bad. It's not any of you. It's actually Cena. He left his mic on. My bad. It's just like it's constant like motion. Anyways, so to have next year training camp, you have Scottie Barnes signed now to extended like pretty much on a max, like a rookie max extension because he agrees to it this offseason. You have OG Anunoby who gets overpriced because of demand for 42 million. 41 million because there's competing offers from Philly, whatever. You risk losing him, you luck out and you get him. I'm talking best case scenario. And you have Pascal Siakam, who because of competing offers, again, from Philly, from Indiana, etc., you have to max him out at 50 million 5 years. You are officially fucked. You are fucked with that core.
Yeah. And then
it's
when
a terrible core.
And then even when I'm saying the now, right? Like, with that team, we won 15 games or less than 15 games. So it's not like they were doing anything different. And if you thought about, changing maybe the players on the bench, you weren't going to get much players, right? So yeah, you kind of are right in the sense where it's like in the future wise, it would be a lot better to have those players with the picks, even though it's a weak draft, but the 2026 draft is not bad. So you have some sort of leverage now, right? So, yeah.
I can't completely figure out where this mic issue is coming from, but this rumbling of the mic, I don't know who's doing it. It's not Jeff. It's not Jeff. I'll tell you that because I tried muting you in the middle. Jeff's like, it's not me.
Already.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like it's someone's like doing this. And it's like it's driving me mental, and I can't even imagine like the terrible listening experience for somebody.
Yeah,
my mic is way over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's who's the gray box.
Okay, Andre, it's you. Nope, it's not you. Check. It's Todd. Hold on, let's check. Is it Todd? We're gonna investigate this. Todd, it's you.
I'm on mute, so.
No, I just put you on mute.
So I was on mute until you just. No, I put myself on mute.
It might be a connection issue. Mine, I'm plugged into a Rodecaster. I would be surprised if it's me. So if it is me, then I can try something else. But I'll go on mute right.
Oh, Carlo Adamo, what's going on, Carlo? Carlo, ironically, is an actor. He was in my short film, and he was also in my feature film. He was in my first feature film. He is the first character in my first feature film. What a small world, man. How you doing, Carlo?
The one around the table, father and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Saw that. Props.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you did. Okay. Everyone is
to Rob. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Another thing too, Rob, is like today Ben Taylor's reffing this game, so it's gonna be a little bit sad.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just feel bad like about this fan base. But back to what you were saying, like I feel like I like the idea what you're saying, 2 timelines. Okay, if we want to win now, we weren't winning with those 2 players, so that's not win now. Unless we're doing something in the back end, but it's like we're not trading those bench players that we had for anything good. And if we could have done that in the off season, we would have, right? So doing these moves kind of does allow us some flexibility to get players that would fit the mold of the team that we're trying to kind of build right now. Yeah, so I see where you're coming from on that sense. I still, like I said, it's still obviously, I still have the emotions of, this guy won a chip with us, and like even his story just coming from where he came from, and all
right,
within our team and us developing. I just it's still bittersweet in a sense to kind of lose him. A little bit harder than OG, but
really,
I just feel like
okay.
Yeah, I feel that way because I feel like OG was injured injured often, and Pascal was like a true workhorse and really did work for us. So I'm not gonna take away anything from Pascal's skill sets and what he's done for us. But at the end of the day, it wasn't working. At the end of the day, daddy issues.
Yeah, bro. If like at the end of the day, I feel like I'm never gonna hear at the end of the day without thinking about Dennis Schroeder saying that 85 times per message. Bruh, Rob's definitely got daddy issues, fake tough guy energy. First of all, fuck yourself. Second of all, I definitely have mommy issues. You lunatic. I'm kidding.
Don't worry about those trolls. They have nothing else better.
No, I'm kidding. I'm trolling the troll. Look, that's hilarious. I've never heard that before. Daddy issues. First of all, I don't think I've ever heard a man be accused of having daddy issues. That is interesting, though.
Maybe Rob, he's calling you daddy, and that's why because he's getting spanked last night.
I bet money your dad wasn't even around. Aw, yeah, he wasn't.
He's projecting.
Congratulations, he wasn't around.
He's projecting. It's all good,
bro. I bet
guys,
money.
Right? You can kick those guys, right? At the chat and everything, right?
I don't care, bro. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
All right, fine. That's fine.
Sumer, Rob has Ben Taylor energy. Oh, I love it. Thanks.
I got a couple questions for you, and then I'll let you guys continue without me. Now that it's all said and done, do you mind sharing what you were hearing before the trade was happening and that you said you didn't want to talk about because you didn't want it to be true? Number one. And number two, do we have any finite information on how the Pels are included in this deal? We know what we're getting from them, but what are they getting?
They're getting a second round pick, which is being routed, I believe, from... No, they're giving a second round. Wait, are they giving?
I read they're giving a second round pick and Kira, but I didn't see anywhere what they were getting.
Indiana's getting the second round pick.
So they're giving Indiana the second round pick,
and we get Kira.
We get Kira. So what are they getting? I think they're getting off a contract that they don't want.
That's the only thing I read was that it puts them in position to be under the cap. But
yeah, so in terms of what I was hearing about a package that was centered around Nwora, but I was hearing 2 picks. And I thought that was a really big swing factor for me. Now, I know that I said that I would have taken 2 picks earlier in the year just to avoid this entire nightmare of a season that has been all the drama and all the defensive lapses and all the stupidity of it. And I do believe that Pascal Siakam had a higher trade value in the offseason, and you would have been able to leverage offers that you didn't have now to leverage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. And then, actually, it gives me the opportunity to ask one last question, and I'll leave. I absolutely promise. Which kind of ties back to my opinion at the beginning. Would you have felt it a worse package to have only 2 picks, but have that Kira Lewis be turned into a Jalen Smith or Andrew Nembhard in the package? So it would have been the same package, except not Kira, but Jalen or Andrew, and only 2 picks.
Fair enough. I don't think that was necessarily available. I
got what was available at their best.
You know what, Jeff? It is your mic.
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. Take care, man. See ya. Okay, I apologize for accusing everyone else. I didn't want it to be true, but it was. It was him the whole time.
It's probably using a mini in and out. That's probably why, and it's probably moving.
Yeah. He actually helped me translate a trailer that we had for Pendants, and yeah. And Todd's like, let me unmute myself so we can get some mic rumble on my side. Todd, what's up, man? I don't think you've spoken yet.
How you doing, Rob?
I'm good. How are you?
All you guys. I may be one of the few old age pensioners that will listen to you.
No, you're not. Believe it or not, there's a healthy demographic. Believe it or not, of people who are 55 to 65. They don't count demographics after 65, so I don't know what how they group it, but I don't see YouTube analytics for people who are 80 or anything.
But anyway, so I might have a different take on some of the things.
Sure.
I've been reading the comments, and guys, this isn't the Vince trade. There was nobody on the Raptors team.
Did we
lose everyone?
Did we lose you, Todd?
No.
Last thing we heard
there.
was there was nobody on the Raptors.
Okay, there's nobody.
So there's nobody on the Raptors.
On the Raptors team at the time of the Vince trade. That is was close to the level of
Scottie Barnes. Todd, you're going through some serious connective issues. I'm going to ask that you leave and come back if you can. We'd love to hear from you. Certainly, you know, you're probably going to have a different opinion than some of us, and I would love to hear it. But you're going through some serious connective issues right now, and yeah, the audio is really, really bad, and you're getting like a lot of sliding, and it sounds like the world has conspired to test my patience on audio today. Yeah, so. Bueno Kitty, Todd, you got to get off the top. Come on, Bueno Kitty. Nobody has dial-up anymore, right? Right? I'm pretty sure. Todd, we'll try to bring you back on. Todd, are you there? Hello? There's like a drum beat to you, man. Hello? I feel like okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Todd. I didn't want to I didn't kick him out. He just left. So he'll try. Anyways, yes.
Rob, another sad thing again today. Warriors assistant Dejan Milojevic.
Dejan. Yep.
Dejan Milojevic. How do you pronounce that part?
Milojevic.
Okay. I will not try again. He died today. Heart attack.
Yes.
Sad.
Yes, it is very, very tough. I believe when people die in their 40s and 50s, especially for people around them. I lost both my parents. My dad died when he was 44. And my mom passed away when she was 50. So it's very, very difficult. I know, and prayers up to his family. He's a very, very well-respected person, trailblazer for Serbian basketball. And, you know, as a Serb, I'm sad, but as a basketball fan, I'm even more sad. So, you know, prayers up to him. Again, it's always, maybe death is a really good reminder, not to be all morbid here, to cherish these moments. And anyways, I
got a question for you, Rob. If you're so now that you and I love your chess mind. So now that you have the chess pieces, the Raptors pieces right now,
roster or team building constructive pieces. You're talking picks, or you're talking players? You're talking both.
Everything, yeah. So
okay.
you have the pieces, because now right now we don't think anything else is gonna happen unless, you know. But now that you have those pieces, how are you constructing this team? Right? What would you think would be the identity of what you're trying to build, especially for this year, or are building towards something? What are we trying to build towards now? I know I'm not sure, we're not tanking, but we are trying to build something here.
Absolutely.
Some sort of
tanking.
identity, right? So what are we trying to do here? Say, just with the pieces that we have, with the draft picks that are coming in, that are, if you're going to trade them or anything, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I feel Bruce Brown is a huge upgrade from Gary Trent Jr., which no one has been talking about. So what do we do with Gary Trent Jr.? Right. So what are what are your thoughts on that? On the team?
Is this a basketball philosophy question or a team building perspective? Like, from a basketball philosophy, I feel like you've seen what the offense is, but now you're going to plug and play. We had I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone who was here earlier, but I talked a lot about what I think Bruce Brown can do for this team. I think he's incredible. He's a really good basketball player, a very smart basketball player, and I actually likened him to a Scottie Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
It's without all the hype.
I don't want you to have to repeat yourself. It's more about what we saw the, like you said, the offense or whatever, but what are we doing with the team? How is this team going to be shaped now? And what is it that you're like, how do you see this team kind of moving forward now?
I see it as a bunch of guys who buy into team. You know, Bruce Brown's a team guy, right? I don't know enough about Jordan Nwora, but I know like Kira Lewis has been, you know, both these guys have had like questions about shot selection, just like any young player, but I believe they're here to buy into team. I don't see any one of them individually trying to hijack the offense. Their usage, their numbers, their shot distribution tells me that they're not overly ball dominant. They can be coached up. It's easier to break habits when you're 22 than it is when you're 29. You've already established yourself. So we are in the development factory portion of Raptors basketball, which is how we got We the North. If you really want to think about it, when the minute they drafted OG Anunoby, no one was saying this is a guy who's one day going to net you like a former 3rd overall pick in a haul, and he's going to be the most in-demand small forward in the trade deadline, and someone's going to be lining up to pay $40 million. I think you would have called me crazy if I'd said that. No one was like saying, oh my God, Pascal Siakam, this guy can be 2-time All-NBA. No, you developed. That's the advantage. So you take athletes who have basketball skills, and then you try to develop them into great basketball players through culture, through coaching. And I have already seen enough positive returns on Darko and Jama's abilities to reach young players with the developments that I've seen on Malachi Flynn, Precious Achiuwa when they were here, OG Anunoby, even Pascal Siakam, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley. You know, there's like a thing like a Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to gold. The Raptors lost that for a while. It seemed like for a long time, there was a lot of mystery around how do the Raptors keep finding these guys, these second-round guys. And there's a reductive way to look at this argument, which is to say they just got bad at finding the guys, right? They just got bad at finding guys who popped. They got bad at, quote unquote, winning the margins. The Norman Powells, you know, those guys. The Norman Powells suddenly turned into Jalen Harris. And the Fred VanVleets turned into Delano Bantons. And if Fred VanVleet was Delano Banton, you don't win a championship. Right? If OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam were Malachi Flynn, you don't win the championship. So the outcomes changed. The process, however, did not change very much. I think the culture changed enough. So now you change the culture back. You get a lot of the initial drivers of that culture back into the room. And now you start talking about building this in a sustainable way. I believe the Raptors are about to turn into a very, very exciting basketball team. Like, this is about to become one of the most exciting periods to be a Raptor fan since Vince. I don't know about you guys, but the championship year, the year we won the championship, I felt like I was attending the most beautiful funeral in the world the whole year. Mm-hmm. Maybe other people didn't feel this way, but there was a sinking of like inside my heart of knowing what I was watching was The Last Dance. Right? And that's a beautiful thing, but it's also a funeral. Mm. And you can admire the decor at the funeral. You can admire the fine wood on the coffin. You can admire the size of the venue. You can admire the speeches and the eulogies, but you're still at a fucking funeral. And every so often that you get miffed by the moment and overwhelmed by the beautiful speeches and the extravagant flowers and the crazy decor and the beautiful lighting and everything, you snap back and you're like, I'm still at a fucking funeral. Someone died here. That's how I felt. It didn't feel, it felt like a release. It felt like a cathartic, it ended, but it ended before it fucking started. Mm. It felt like we were at the ground floor of something beautiful. And to hear Masai say it, it was a proof of concept. A proof of concept for what? A proof of concept for this, right? A proof of concept for Giannis, KD, whoever. Someone come here and we will do this right around you, but give us 5 years and we'll give you 4 rings, 3 rings. I say always, you cannot control championships. Even with Michael Jordan, you can't control championships. Just because he won 6, that's a lot of luck. And every championship he won, I assure you, the reason he won is because the team that he faced in the Western Conference in the finals was probably inferior to some team that he had to come out of in the East to beat. The Knicks, Pacers, whatever, whichever team you believed, Pistons. There's a lot of great teams in the East. I believe that the real finals happened in the East every year through Michael Jordan's rise to the top. But most teams, they don't do that. They don't run the table with 2 top 5 guys. What they do, and what they should do, and what should try to do, is do what the Raptors did, what the Golden State Warriors did, what the Spurs did, which is give yourself a real 6 to 7 year window to be really just right there, right? Extend it a little bit on both ends, and then try to win 2 or 3. That's massive success. The Golden State Warriors went from a laughingstock as a child to the most valuable franchise in the NBA. How the fuck did that happen? Well, Steph Curry happened. 4 championships happened. Okay. Bookending a dynasty with Kevin Durant happened. New arena happened. A location shift happened. The Raptors are business minded. This We the North Part 2, I believe, will put We the North Part 1 to shame, even though We the North Part 1 resulted in a championship. And I know most people can't believe that right now, but the truth is that I believe I'm a chess player. I mean, I don't believe I'm a chess player. I know I'm a chess player. I always try to see what 6 moves, 3 moves, as far down as I can. I see the moves. I've been seeing it for years now, and I've been just frustrated at why we just kept holding on to Fred and Pascal and whatever. They don't fit. It's not the timeline. You know, it's not Reggie Miller. It's not like franchise icon where you just kind of keep him around and, you know, like, hey, that's Reggie. He's just there. And, you know, here's Jermaine O'Neal and here's Ron Artest, and it's all just going to work together. Reggie was that guy where he was just willing to age gracefully. He was willing to take lower usage to allow those guys to ascend. Kyle was like that too. He allowed Siakam to do that. These guys were not about to do that. And I think that's the big Raptors miscalculation is they expected Fred to be Kyle and DeMar and Siakam to be DeMar. And they're not as people, not as entrepreneurs, not as basketball players. They don't have it. They're not going to be the guy who's going to be like, someone let me rise up. Let me let someone else rise up. It could have been beautiful, man. But the minute you saw it wasn't going to happen in Scottie's rookie year, the minute you saw the kind of catty-eyed looks of, oh, they're building around him now, huh? Everything Fred's talked about all offseason has been like, I saw the writing on the wall. I saw what direction they were going in. You could have been a part of that, Fred. No one pushed you out. You pushed yourself out, right? And now you're going to go and try to prove a point by doing the same thing for Alperen Şengün. They were kind of asking you to do for Scottie Barnes, but you wouldn't do it here because you weren't paid yet. And that's the difference. So it's like Kyle Lowry's support of Pascal Siakam was not contingent on getting paid first. It wasn't, I'll get paid first and then I'll support the bench mob. You had the wrong people in your organization. Every person in this organization right now is okay, except for, in my opinion, one guy who I would happily ship out in a second. But pretty much everyone else is clear. I like the guys they got back in this trade. From what I understand about them as people, it seemed like great people. Don't ever underestimate the positive impact of just bringing great people into your organization and other people just feeling not choked up about it. And you're really, you know, in a weird way, you're betting on, you're kind of showing Emmanuel Quickley and Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett a lot of faith, saying, you know what, this is how much we trust you three, that we are pinning the hopes of the next 42 games onto you, but we're also clearing the deck so that you don't have to deal with this entire cloud over the team. Now go do something and show us something. And you know what? Best case scenario, you make the play-in and you make the playoffs, and it's a fantastic repeat of We the North Part 1, right?
It's very much, I think, to add to that, I think it's very much like what you said before. It's like a replication of that the 2013-14 trade with Rudy Gay. Like, you got John Salmons, you had Gravis Vasquez, Patrick Patterson, and Chuck Hayes. It's very much the same, and I love that team. You know, I think that's on the cusp.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So
I agree. Like,
so, last question for you, both you guys. My friend, I'm preface it wasn't me. It didn't come from me. My friend is asking, and there's a two-parter. Should we look to move Grady, or should we just consider this a development year and let him play through whatever whatever struggles he has now, and just let him play like the other draft picks in his class right now?
Okay.
and let him play through mistakes this year.
I'm gonna make a suggestion to your friend. It's gonna be a great suggestion. Okay. It is 4:54 right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Ask your friend to set an alarm for 247 minutes from now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when that alarm rings, tell your friend that's how many minutes Grady Dick has played all year.
Okay, but so then we should play him then. Like we should, like I honest to God, play him.
It's neither here nor there. It's not a flip answer. Like it's there. He's a 20-year-old kid who fits exactly what you're trying to do on the basketball court. And if this season completely gets away from you, guess what? Okay, you surrender a 7th overall pick or 8th overall pick, or maybe you have a lottery pick, whatever. And look, there is a weird world in which this happens. Okay, and I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but let's just say this happens. Let's say you really do suck. Okay, let's say there's an injury that you weren't expecting. Touch wood. I hope it doesn't happen. And let's say Grady gets a ton of reps because, like, once you're outside the play-in picture or the playoff picture, you have nothing to push up for. So you might as well just develop, right? You're not trying to compete anymore. There's a high like value to getting to the playoffs for this team, especially now. Scottie, first option, RJ, 1B, Emmanuel Quickly, 1B type of option. Like giving these three like a 7-game series, this should be priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 5,000 for this team. The sooner you get that first playoff loss out of the way, the sooner you get the sweep or whatever you got to go through. And I'm not saying they're not going to get swept. I think they're going to be good enough to win one game. Let them get that rep in. Okay. But let's just say that's not in the cards. Let's say somehow, some way, you are 8 games behind the 8 ball. You've bolstered up enough teams. You suffer an injury. Now play Grady Dick. Yeah, all means. But let me tell you, he's developing regardless of the fact that he's playing or not. There's a lot of work that goes into development. I feel like people look way too much into numbers when it comes to young players. Don't. Look at Jermaine O'Neal's first year. Look at Kobe's first year. Look at a ton of players, man, who come in physically underdeveloped. They do not. The Raptors have a bigger plan for them. I really trust the people operating that plan, though. I will tell you this. Grady Dick, this time next year, will be a rotation player. I bet a lot on that. Okay. He will be good. However he gets there. Now, my projection would be that sometime towards the end of this year, you probably see Christian Coloco. You probably see Grady Dick get a few more minutes. He's going to be a part of this rotation. I guarantee it. I'm almost certain. You need him. You need him. You need him. And once you make some trades, some in-house, housekeeping, Thaddeus Young, Gary Trent Jr. potentially. I don't know. Yeah. Like, what are you going to trade for these guys? I think you're going to do a consolidation trade. You're going to have to. At some point, you're going to do a trade that's going to be like kind of a 3-for-1. And you're going to take either a massive expiring and a whole bunch of picks back and give that team immediate help. Because if you're out of the playoff contention or whatever, Gary Trent Jr. plus Otto Porter for deadweight contract plus a couple picks helps that team, right? Think about it. It really does. Gary Trent Jr. and Otto Porter, Chris Boucher, this is crazy, right? Like this is a lot of value. So I feel like the number of NBA ready players, like guys who are rotation good pieces, yesterday is the same as today. You just swapped Bruce Brown for Pascal Siakam. Siakam's a better player for sure. Bruce Brown probably fits better with what you're trying to do as a basketball team. So it's very similar. Yeah. You've kind of just cleared the pecking order a little bit. So I think you'll be fine. And ultimately, it wouldn't surprise me if Grady comes into Summer League and just blitzes the whole league, like 27, 28 points per game. And then everyone's like, oh my God, he put in so much work. Where did this come from? And it's going to be like, bro, this is the NBA. So again, Kira Lewis, 22 years old. I'm not saying every 22-year-old is going to be something, but I'll trust his athletic profile coming into this development team. If he's got the right mindset about this, there's a real chance to play here. You know what I mean? Like he fits. And if Dennis Schroeder is 30, 31, whatever, he moves on at some point this season because he's, whatever, clearly wanting to lead his own team or whatever, maybe Kira Lewis is a guy who actually pops for you. I'll take my chances on Kira Lewis over Malachi Flynn. That much I will tell you. Yeah. Yeah.
I was. This trade, just like how much is going to open the floor for all these guys. Like, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And like I think from your last question, yeah, I think there's definitely has to be some trades, but like I feel like Grady will flourish next season for sure. You know,
Yeah.
give him 15, 20 minutes. You know, that guy will be a game changer for you. Maybe not next season, but definitely like with some development, like he's gonna be he is a good young player right now. He's gonna be a better young player in the future. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Sean J saying you're not making the trade sound any better. We gave up a top 20 player in the league for someone who, quote, who might play. Huh?
Who is he talking about? Bruce Brown?
I have no idea. First of all, top 20? Count them out, bro. Top 20? Where? How? What? Who? Can I play that Darko clip? I need to have that clip on loop. Who? What? When? Where? We need to do that with Darko. Like every time someone says something crazy, I just pin the comment and just pull Darko up and just be like, who, what, when. I need to have this. Like I need a video coordinator, bro. Like someone who could do this for me. Just have like random, like, that's why he's the GOAT. You know, just like how like memes come up. Anyways, I think it would make the show a lot more entertaining. I will say this. Some real crazy ass takes going on in the chats, yo. So, Larry, you're too good for this chat right now, bro. You're too good for this. Having to endure half an hour of Sean J and Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius. Oh, the name. Why are you slandering Marcus Aurelius? Give me a W if you actually know who the real Marcus Aurelius is, and if you would like this Marcus Aurelius to revert to his actual name so as to not slander the original Marcus Aurelius. Does anyone know who Marcus Aurelius is? I'm curious. Andre, Cena, do you guys know?
Oh, he coached Jokic, I think, early on in his career. Not in the was it before he got in the league? I think. Yeah. Or sometime around when he first got into the league, I think.
Yep. He coached Nikola Jokic in 121 AD.
Yeah.
he was a Roman emperor and a bit of a philosopher, and has taken on a bit of a cultural revolution for Stoicism because he was a Stoic philosopher. And Marcus Aurelius, this namesake, I almost want to ban you for having this name because it's weirdly triggering for me to have to look at the name Marcus Aurelius saying the dumbest shit every single day, constant trolling all last night, just every 5 minutes. Like this guy was like Woj bomb, Shams bomb. Like you're the least stoic person in the history of the world. Why would you choose this name?
Was he the dude that was playing that music in the background? Like
I
when
don't
he
know.
hopped in?
I have no idea. I don't know. I feel like I let people go crazy in the chat and then I roast them at the end. Roman commander, all caps. Bro, I hope you're a troll. I shudder to think. I hope you're just kidding. Like, I hope, like, in your real life that you don't subject people to this personality of yours. This is like some sort of like fantasy theater that you do on the internet to have fun.
It's too bad Jalen McDaniels didn't get traded.
The
year is young. Hold faith. Hold faith.
That was a conversation we were having on Twitter one night. Is like, we feel that Grady isn't that much of a fall off from Jalen McDaniels, that McDaniels gets so much minutes. And that was one thing we were talking about. It's like, why not just play Grady if we're not getting much from Jalen McDaniels, yet you're playing him this many minutes. So that was one of the things we were kind of discussing about that too.
Well, I think like there's the thing, like we are fans and the whole fan psychology and why people attend games, watch games. It's not necessarily even in my benefit as a person who hosts post-game lives to be like, by the way, guys, these games don't fucking matter. Like, it's a long-term process, whatever, right? I want to say this for everybody because we got a lot of people in here, and maybe we'll have a lot of people after tonight's game as well when we do the post-game live. Just a little bit of a shout out to, we do post games after every single game. To those of you who maybe aren't from this community, I'm assuming that of the 651 people in here, probably 300 people are general subscribers, and maybe 350 people are just like, what's this Masai basketball thing? We do post-game labs after every single game. Usually, it's like the most watched post-game show in Raptors YouTube, which is pretty cool. And we do this. We call in and we give you my analysis and whatever. So my point is, like, that's important on a game-to-game basis, dissecting the process and how it's going. What's most important to me, though, is the bird's eye view of being able to look back 3 years from now at those YouTube videos and just like really stretching it out. You know what I mean? Like if I show you a screen, right? And you see like 18 videos on that screen, right? That's like probably a month of content for me, or maybe it's like 2 weeks of content. But what about like 200 videos? That's like a year of content. What about 500 videos strung across an entire line and looked at from like an airplane? That's a rebuild or a retool or whatever. And all the highs and lows and all the overreactions and all the this guy's a bust and all the Precious Achua is going to be an all-star and oops, he doesn't know how to play basketball and oops, he's going to be an all-star again and oops, he doesn't know how to play basketball again. All the trade Pascal Siakam for whatever you can get and Jakob Poeltl is a great player. No, Jakob Poeltl is shit. And oh, we should tank for Wemby to know. Oh, Cason Wallace is really good. All of this is a process, bro. It is a process through which I hope people can apply to their lives and learn a bit. But I also hope that people can enjoy the process as well. I'm not necessarily preaching the butterfly to caterpillar stuff that Jonathan Convoy, goes into. What I am saying is that this is an enjoyable experience to just watch a young team blossom, and it's not going to be linear. And some of those players are not going to play in an optimal role for you. But trust that the Raptors, like this thing that I'm talking about, revisionist, I can go back and look at the 500 videos. What I can't do, the average person can't do, is look at that from that perspective as the 500 videos at the first video. But that is the job of Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri. To see those 500 steps, those 500 days before they happen. To anticipate, react, to adjust, all of these things, right? People often say that the Raptors didn't build around Pascal. I disagree. I disagree severely. Okay. Imagine a team, the following team, okay? Are you ready for this? And I want you to tell me if you think this team is a really good team. Here's the team. Fred VanVleet, okay? OG Anunoby, Jason Tatum, Scottie Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl. I want you to think about that team. Is that a championship contender? Is that one of the best teams in the East? Is that a playoff-bound team? What is that team to you? Just think about the team that I really just presented. Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Jason Tatum, Scottie Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl. Chat, how many wins is that team winning? Just give me an estimate.
Okay, I think that would be a playoff bound team, but I think there would be problems with ball with usage. I think Scottie would have to would take a backseat to certain players, and I think Fred would be more inclined to be a spot up shooter in that lineup. So I think playoff team, they need one more body. Maybe someone to replace Yak.
You got Gary coming off the bench,
and Gary streaky. So. That's how I see it. I'm
seeing a lot of 50s. I'm seeing a lot of 50s and 52s. Let me tell you the beauty of that team. Almost every single player is under 30, with the exception of Fred. So you have built a 52 to 55 win team, okay, where everyone's under 30. Two guys are not even at their prime because Jason Tatum's like 26 right now. Chances are, okay, maybe he's at his prime, but Scottie is going to ascend to get better. So the only difference here, really, for the people on the short bus who say like, oh my God, they never built around Siakam. The gap is that at some point in 2019, there was a real debate about who was going to be a better player, Pascal Siakam or Jason Tatum. Trust me, I lived through that debate and I was very firmly on the side of Tatum. The difference is one of those guys actually progressed to 6, 7, box plus minus, 3-level scorer, great defender, great two-way guy who could lead his team to a finals. And the other guy, he didn't. And that's the difference. Because if I replace Pascal Siakam in that equation, guess what? Your 41-win team. The gap of 10 wins between two players who were similar, or at least considered similar, make similar money, play similar style, play similar positions, have similar physical strengths. What is the gap between Jason Tatum and Pascal Siakam? A lot. And that is the construct. Because I bet you anything, if you would ask the Raptors, how big do you expect this gap to be 5 years from now or 3 years from now in 2019, they probably wouldn't have told you a really big gap. I think they probably would have told you to be splitting hairs, but it's not. And it wasn't. There was growth that didn't happen. Same thing with OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby is another guy who probably was supposed to take a couple more steps that never happened. Yeah. And so that's not shade on those guys. They still went really far. But that is a miscalculation by the Toronto Raptors for whatever reason. Injuries, bubble, whatever. Tampa, you call it whatever you want. You expected OG Anunoby to be more than this. If you're the Toronto Raptors and you saw what he did as a rookie and you were saying, draw the chart of where this is supposed to be. This is like if you held, I don't know, if you hold the stock ABC, okay? You buy stock ABC at $6 a share. You have projections that this is going to be a $12 a share stock at the end of next year. That's your projection. That's your analysis based on the earnings, based on the income, based on what you know about the CEO. You expect the stock to double. Now, if this stock goes to 9, still a hell of a fucking investment. Great investment. But the other guy who invested in a $6 stock that went to 18, he's got more money than you now. Simplest way to look at this is that you invested in 2 very, very good stocks. You thought they were rocket stocks. They weren't. That's it. That's it. So the concept is, what was the part of the equation of the Pascal Siakam led championship team that didn't go well? Pascal Siakam. In my opinion. That might be tough for you to hear, Andre, because you seem probably more emotionally attached to the concept of Siakam and the player himself than I am.
No. I don't think so. To be honest, it's more about like reminiscing on what has transpired. And I don't know if you remember this, but I was a proponent of trading Pascal before we had traded OG. I wanted Pascal traded instead of OG. Mm-hmm. So when OG was traded, that's when my thoughts changed to either keep Pascal or trade him for something like when we were talking about when you had those like trade lives where we were gonna get like a decent blue chipper, right? So but anyways, I gotta head back to work. Really thank
peace,
you
man.
for letting me join.
Yeah, man. Peace. Right, yeah. Cena, any final words, man?
Man, just excited for this new era of this new chapter of Raptors. That's, I'm of the proponent that, like, it is what it is. Thank you, Pascal. Respect to everything that you've done. Respect to what OG's done as well. But this is, just flip the page. It is what it is. We got some assets out of it. Like, I'm optimistic that, I'm positive that this is going to be like you said, this is going to be like one of my favorite eras of Raptors. I was somewhat of a fan like during the Bosch era, and then I tapped in like right when Rudy Gay came to the scene, and then I've been like an onward fans ever since. But like that 2014 team was like my safe haven, if that makes sense, and it's like
the Raptors 2014.
Yeah, like when like the Rudy Gay trade and everything. Like I was like, that was like one of the most exciting times for me to be a fan.
I agree. I agree, because what, the start of things is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And we all have projections of the type of player that someone might be.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the Raptors already went through this entire Pascal thing with DeMar.
Right.
You always thought that he could do it. He was going to get over that hump. He was going to make the threes. He was going to become a better defender. He was going to become a better playoff performer. And I have a lot of, respect for Masai for giving him that many cracks at it. I have respect for him for always, doing well by Casey, getting him opportunity after opportunity. You get swept by Washington and you still get an opportunity.
Yeah.
How?
Right.
How does a coach live through that? Everyone would have fired him. But it's so funny that at the end of the day, the person who leaves, Casey leaves very, very bitter. He should have had a chance. DeMar left very bitter. He should have gotten a chance. Never ever realizing, God damn, you got more chances than you deserved.
Oh yeah.
People don't want to hear that. People are very sentimental about their sports. They're sentimental about their sports heroes. They always want to cry victim. We live in an era where everyone is either like empathizing with the victim or crying victim themselves. And the truth is that this is sports. This is business. And, probably if you're going to go up against a team that has a player that's better than your best player or a coach that's better than your coach, especially if you go up against a team with both. And in the case of, the Boston Celtics versus the Raptors in the bubble, Jason Tatum being better than Pascal Siakam, Brad Stevens being a better coach than Nick Nurse. Yeah, you get fleeced, you get beat,
No
and
doubt.
And the end of it is you want to give yourself a 30% chance to win a championship every single year for 5 years. That's
exactly.
it.
No doubt.
That's what you got to build towards. And I think the Raptors are building towards that. And, I have a lot of maybe empathy and understanding for people who are maybe like a little bit nostalgic. And this is a very sad day for a lot of Raptor fans who are like, oh my God, this is the last piece of the team that I remember being good, right? It's the last time that I remember being like super proud as a Raptor fan. Pascal Siakam was really, really, really important part of that. And I think it's really hard for people to untether themselves from the thoughts and optimism that they had about something and divorce it from what actually happened. And I feel like if you really look at the culture that was built for these guys to come into and the culture that became under their watch, you cannot absolve them of it, whether passively or actively. They contributed to the disintegration of something very, very good. They burned it to the fucking ground. And that's a tough thing to say to a fan base that is currently trying to, kumbaya over this. I'll say this, like, I don't know if this is relevant to you or relevant to anyone listening. When my mom and my dad passed away, I absolutely vowed that when they passed away, that I would never lie about them, that I would never misrepresent the good things or bad things that they did, that I would always try to be honest about it. And that's it. I want to stick to the truth. I don't want to go out of my way to be like, no, my mom didn't do these things that she did just because she passed away. I don't want to gloss over reality in order to make myself feel good, because I feel like it's like hugging onto a plush toy while you're heading off a cliff.
Right.
You feel a little bit better, but you're still heading off a cliff. So I'm going to lean into reality and just say the truth of Pascal Siakam is it's complicated. That's the truth. And I'm happy for him. And I think he's going to do really, really well in Indiana. And I'm not wishing anything against him. And I want him to do very well, because I think it just didn't fit anymore. And I'm happy to move on from it. I'm very happy as a Raptor fan today. And, to the people saying the Raptors are going to be worse, bet.
Yeah, no doubt. No, my mom passed away when I was younger too, and I lost my uncle. Lost my uncle when I was 2022. So I can definitely relate to like what you're saying for sure. Like, it's very much the same mentality for me as well. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Cena.
Yeah, no doubt. No, thanks for having me, dude. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. See ya. All right. We got 614 people in here. The Raptors got a game in 2 hours. I am very curious to, are you open to guests for your streams? Yeah. Lightspeed saying sorry to hear that. John Wheaton, 10 and 32 the rest of the way. So you're projecting them to finish with 25 wins? For real? Don't hold your breath. I think, look, to the 609 of you in here, obviously you're in here for a reason. Tonius, you have no link. Yes. So to anyone, I don't want to take any more callers. I'm sorry. Like I kind of just, I've live streamed for the last 14. I've live streamed for 14 of the last 36 hours. And I'll encourage you, if you're curious about your new franchise player, Scottie Barnes, Sahil and I went through a very incredible discussion on him last night. I think it's a very evolved discussion. It talks about play types, connectors, what type of roster he needs, whatever. I think he'll have a renewed appreciation for both Scottie and maybe like a refreshed perspective on the type of player he is, instead of just repeating all the dumb, like, oh, he's Draymond, oh, he's LeBron bullshit. He's neither of those players. And I think he's a very unique type of player. And I think you need to study, what kind of pieces you need to put around him. And I think sometimes less of something is a good thing. And I don't think the Raptors ever had a chance to see what this team could be without Siakam. And I think predictably, a lot of people are thinking they're going to be terrible without him. I've been trying to say for 2 years they won't be. And I think you're about to find out tonight that maybe not tonight right away, but at some point this season, I will frame this live and I will say, I don't think that that's true. I don't think that's true. Sean J, this whole team is dead weight besides RJ and Quickly. You know what? Like, you're so trash. You're so trash. Like, I don't know if you're, no, fuck you, man. Get out. Like, I think it's like it's such a, I regret that fans like you exist in every fan base. You do. Peace out. Like, what is this natural need to pit this guy against this guy? Oh, Pascal had 36 points. Scottie had fewer shots tonight. Scottie had 36 points. Pascal had fewer shots tonight. Yeah, there's one fucking basketball. Are we on Dennis? Yikes. Anyways. Jared Osei saying this reminds me of the old days. Is it because I am politically incorrect and very unhinged? Okay. I will say this. I said it earlier in the live, and I will say it again. I have a lot of respect for Pascal Siakam, the basketball player. And little less respect for Pascal Siakam, the entrepreneur / leader / locker room, kumbaya guy. I think like he was a little bit weird and heavy at times. And maybe it was the situation. Maybe it was him. Because certainly I didn't notice any of this stuff when he was much younger. But something shifted the last 3-4 years. And I wasn't enthused about him as a leader. But his fans, like his super fans, his stans, peace. I hope y'all take the first train out to Indiana. Please leave this fan base alone with your bullshit. Like, the minute Scottie got drafted, these guys started with their, oh, why are they drafting Scottie Barnes? He's so bad. Why didn't we get Jalen Suggs? He'd be better at passing the ball to Pascal Siakam. I don't like people doing this. Like, at the end of the day, look, I'm a Raptor fan way before I became a Scottie fan. I'm very excited that my favorite player plays for my favorite team. But make no mistake about it, if Scottie ever like really, really fucks over the Raptors in the way that I believe certain players in this team have, lose oodles of respect for him for doing that. It's not consistent with who he is, though. It's not consistent with who he's ever been. If he ever starts like freezing out teammates to gun for his contract, he won't be Scottie Barnes anymore. To me, that's not the Scottie Barnes that I have watched for the last 5 years. I don't respect, like, I'm going to share a quote with you guys before we leave. It's a really beautiful quote, and I think it's a great way to end this live. And it's just a good one. I wish I could flash it on the screen. I mean, in fairness, if I thought about this like further back, I probably could have. But let me just pull it up. The exact quote is as follows. The hallmark of an open mind is separating your ideas from your identity. If you define yourself by your opinions, questioning them is a threat to your integrity. If you see yourself as a curious person or a lifelong learner, changing your mind is a moment of growth, by Adam Grant. It's a great quote, okay? And I believe it fully. So embrace We the North Part 2. It's going to be a really, really good one, man. What happens on the Jonte Porter front? Well, last I checked, we didn't get a single big back, which is probably the most disappointing thing for everybody who's thinking immediate win, right? Because you still don't have a center, and now you got to go up against Bam Adebayo and Nikola Vucevic on a night, but yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Make Toronto North again. I hope that doesn't catch off. Oh, okay. Funny thing. Yesterday, Sahil and I talked about connector types. I'm so shocked. I would be shocked if this has never come up. But has anyone ever thought of naming Scottie Barnes Connect 4? He's missing like a go-to nickname the whole time. He's like the best the best young connector in the NBA. Why don't we call him Connect 4? It's such an interesting thing, you know? It's like a game. There's a double entendre there. He has the number 4. Connect 4. Scottie 3 doesn't make sense, but Connect 4 makes a lot of sense. He likes to connect with his teammates. He likes to hug his teammates. He likes to hug his family. He's a connector. He's a locker room connector. He's a basketball connector. No. Yeah. I agree. It's a great name. Make it happen. Exactly right. Connect 4. You got to run this by some people. I trademarked this. No, I can't. You can't trademark something that's super corny. You know what? You suck. You're gone. I refuse to start We the North Part 2 with people like Marcus Aurelius and whatever that guy's name was. Y'all banned. Get the hell out. Okay? He already has SB4. What a stupid SB4. How's that a nickname? It's not CB4. CB4 had a double meaning because it was a game. Sorry, it was a movie. SB4 means nothing. It's just his name. It's his initials. Connect 4 is a much better thing than SB4, man. Yeah. Stoicism king. SB4 Nwora is 6'8", 225 and can be developed as a defender. I am willing to bet dollars to donuts he will not be developed as a defender. Not the greatest athlete. I don't think he has it. I hope he proves me wrong, though. He's a Toronto Raptor. I root for him. I hope Jordan Nwora becomes a much better defender than I think he is. I watched him play a lot. If he was a really good defender, like this deal for me, I would have loved to get Aaron Nesmith in this deal instead of Jordan Nwora. That to me would have been the Raptors get an A+, maybe the Pacers get an A-. I understand Raptor fans who are disappointed, but sometimes it's difficult to understand that addition by subtraction is still addition. Peace, guys. Have a great one. Good luck to the new Raptors. I don't think they're going to play tonight. Who are we waving to make the place, though? I don't know. Julia Hayden, I need an answer. I don't know what your question was. What's your question? I'm trying to look back on your comments. I hope Scottie isn't deflated at this point. He's well aware. Yeah, he's well aware. I promise you they're not waving Dennis Schroeder. Pascal's agent said he knew this was coming for a while. Correct. Yeah. Look, I have a lot of reading up to do, calls to make, texts to look at. Genuinely, I would love to keep this live going, but I think I'm doing myself a bit of a disservice as a Raptor fan and someone who wants to enjoy this moment with you and maybe even, mourn this moment with you. Like, I don't think the problem with doing these lives, and it's not to say that's a problem. I'm very, very excited about this channel, our growth. We just hit like 100 and I want to say we've had 108 to 110,000 views in the last 48 hours. Who the hell saw that coming? That's amazing. I'm not complaining, but I do want to say that there's always a push-pull, good, bad side of everything. And I want to say one of the bad things is I just don't get to be as much a fan as I would love to be. I wish I could take this moment and take a walk with my dog and just look at Twitter. This may be like I'm complaining about something that I created. You know what I mean? We didn't at least get Benedict Mathurin. Bro, come on. Clutch Tatum, be better. At least Benedict Mathurin. You take those picks out the door if you take Benedict Mathurin, and I really don't think that much of Benedict Mathurin. Would I have taken Jarris Walker over 3 picks? Yeah, probably. Maybe. We don't know what that 2026 pick is yet. It could be something. It's an incomplete. You gotta give the Raptors time to figure out these assets and what they want to do with it, right? But y'all talk about Walker Kessler, right? How would you have felt if the Raptors had traded Walker Kessler for Pascal Siakam? Let me know. How would you actually feel? Walker Kessler, first team all rookie last year, paint protecting big, really shores up the middle for you. Would you be happy if we had traded Siakam for Walker Kessler? Please tell me. Can you tell me? Yes? No? Okay, good. Walker Kessler was like the 22nd pick in last year's draft. You have 3 of these, man. You have 3 of these. You have 3 chances, great development staff, great team. You are going to be fine. And I don't think you're going to use all 3 of them. Don't get me wrong. Guess what? You can also move up now. What if there's a guy you really, really want at 13? I've always wanted the Raptors to have draft capital to be able to move up. Now, it's hard to move in the drafts, but what if you really, really desperately want a guy that you identify as the next Shea, the next Giannis, the next whatever, and he's sitting there at 14, and you're like, I'm going to trade you 17, 22, and 31 for 13 to get this guy. Some people will regrettably say if they just not traded for Jakob Poeltl, they would have been able to get that guy anyways. But you traded for Jakob Poeltl. You can't judge the past against the present, against the future. You lose the timelines. I feel like the way people discuss basketball sometimes makes them very confusing and very confused. Raptors, Rob, they're going to draft another Grady. Country Kong. You have to excuse me, but like, bro, like you wanted Keontae George. I get it. I wanted Jordan Hawkins. One of us has moved on a little bit. We can still feel sad. You can still look at, Keontae George highlights once in a while and be like, oh my God, this guy would have been great for us, blah, 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 blah. Just like I can be very happy for Jordan Hawkins, bro. But at this point, you're a Raptor fan. I'm assuming you be in these spaces for a long time. You're a Raptor fan. Grady's a Raptor. Try to support him. Try to have a little bit of faith. He may not have been the guy that you wanted. That's fine. Trashing him at this point when he's trying his damn best it doesn't do anything good. Okay. It only validates your own ego to be like, oh, I was right. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you were right. At the end of the day, they picked Grady Dick. And I see a lot of upside in Grady Dick. I hope he will be successful as a Raptor. I think he will be successful as a Raptor. It may not be as successful as Jordan Hawkins, but right now, if you said Grady, Keontae, it's splitting hairs for me. It is. You might say Keontae is a much better player right now, and I say physically he's much, much better. He's in a better system. He's playing in a better system. Let's see what Grady becomes. I will be very curious, Country Kong, to hear make me a deal, Country Kong. I hope you'll be here next year. God willing that you will be alive and well and still around, and you haven't said anything completely crazy and gotten yourself banned in the next year. Please call in a year from now. Make the date. Write it in calendar. January 17th, right? January 17th, 2025. Call in and let me know how that take aged up. 26, AJ DeBanza. What I would not do, what I would not give to get AJ DeBanza on this team, bro. If that 2026 pick, which I don't know about the protections because I haven't looked at my phone enough to know what the protections are. But, bro, if that pick turned into AJ DeBanza, this goes from this goes into the greatest trade of all time. AJ is such a great pairing for Scottie. Do everything in the history of the world to get that dude on this team at some point. Really good player. Raps got robbed. Nah. Top 4 protected? Shit. Too bad. Oh, well. Say la vie. Is it top 5? Crap. Okay, time to catch up. Time to read text messages. So who's moving to New Orleans? I don't know what that means. Okay, Clutch Tatum, your team is the best team in the league right now. Can you just enjoy your own fandom and stop being a troll here? Like, we know each other off, like in the, we talk and stuff. So just chill. Let Raptor fans who wanted this to happen have this moment. Let the ones who didn't want to have this moment to cry in a closet. But like, don't pile it on and make it sound like it's worse than it is. It's not that bad. 3 first-round picks for Pascal Siakam is a hell of a haul, in my opinion. They're not the greatest first-round picks. They're also not the worst first-round picks. It's not like you got like, I don't know. You didn't get like 3 Celtics picks. You know what I mean? Like, chill. Top 4 2026 first round protected. Yeah, I mean, that's not that bad. I think that's a pretty valuable asset. And let me tell you something. Top 4 protected is a great protection on the 2026 pick. 2026 is far enough away that something bad could happen. Not hoping for anything bad to happen. Tyrese Halliburton is one of my favorite players, but I'm just saying if they come out to a disastrous season, you could have a very, very good asset on your hands, provided you can keep the asset, provided you can hold on to it. It's just like, look, you got to understand this. This offseason, the Raptors went from team that had negative draft capital relative to most teams to team that has among top 6 positive draft capital relative to most teams. Make it make sense. The Raptors own all of their draft picks after they convey this one to the Spurs, which hopefully they convey it this year and get it out of the way. Then they have 3 picks, ideally probably between 17 and 32. That's 3 players. I promise you, we'll do the draft coverage on this channel and the player profiles that we do this year, the number of picks that we have, provided that I get a feel that we're going to keep at least 2 of them. It's going to be really cool. Okay. So I understand people see it. Siakam, Bruce Brown, they can't make it make sense. Large pile of things for small pile of things. Can't make it make sense. I think the Raptors got a really good deal on this. I wish it was better, of course. I wish Jalen Smith was Jordan Nwora. That would be much better. I wish Aaron Nesmith was coming back. That would be much better. I wish Andrew Nembhard was there. But basically, if you're the Pacers, you were like 2 picks and, Obi Toppin that you can sell to your fan base, or you want 3 picks and Jordan Nwora. And I think that was it. And I think if you're the Raptors, you chose wisely, because I don't think Obi Toppin's worth a first-round pick at this point. Manny Gill, this is a role player draft. I see your point. Yeah. Grady, pause, upside. Okay. H. Kasaf. Let the shit show roll. Scottie and Associates, here we come. Get used to barely losing all kinds of games. I guess it would be more of the same. Dude, with fans like you, who needs haters? Whoa. Here's to the new era of Scottie Ball. Big ups to content and great takes. You deserve all the views, bro. Keep it going. For real. Do you even sleep? Road to 10K subs. Let's fucking go. Oh, Bueno Kitty, thank you so much, man. That is really generous of you, and I believe you just pushed us over, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I guess I can share this. It's January 17th. There are 13 days left in a month that is probably sure to be full of a lot of views. And I think I can share this. We just already had our best month financially of the year. Not the year, all time, actually. In terms of views, in terms of analytics, in terms of everything. And this is what just put us over. So Bueno Kitty right there with that super chat just put us into our most financially successful month. And we have 13 days to go. Damn, bro. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm grinding so hard on these lives. And you know, putting up the videos and subscribers growing. It's very cool. And yeah. Thank you. And I really appreciate the attention to detail on the 43-43. That's interesting. That's very interesting. That's cool, man. Good luck, Raptors Nation. I think they're very, very, very much on the precipice of a good thing. It might look ugly for a couple games. I'm not making any predictions of what it's going to look like this week. But I think at some point down the line, it's going to be the move that people remember as seemed kind of crazy at the time, but it set up something that was unforeseen that ended up becoming a really great thing. Yeah. Kyosen, congrats, Pinsar. Connect 4 wasn't bad, but I go with Scottie Purple Rain Barnes, abbreviates as SPR Barnes, Super Barnes with a clutch dagger. Fast break report. Aaron Neesmith was never possible. Pacers signed into an extension at the start of the season, so he was poison pilled. Makes sense. I almost want to like play something that's a little bit more like Pascal Siakam closure for people who were, you know, Rob, what do you think we can get Bruce Brown? A lot. He's a very valuable player. He's a very good player. And KG K2 G9, doesn't the Spurs pick get converted to 2 second-round picks if they don't hit it? Nope, not right away. I don't remember the protections off by heart, but not right away. Dyson Daniels for Bruce Brown, bro. Clutch Tatum, you going crazy? Not living up to your name. Not Clutch, not Tatum, not my Tatum. Clutch Tatum, how do you feel about Dennis Schroeder wishing your boy championship? Let me know. Let me know when the video goes live. All right. Very exciting to have gone through this moment with you. I went through last year's trade deadline with you as I scratched my head furiously wondering what the fuck the Raptors front office was doing with Jakob Poeltl coming into the team. I went through, trades scenarios for Fred, Pascal, whatever. Sure. I don't think I ever in my wildest dreams last year would have seen Bruce Brown plus 3 first-round picks as an upside, great deal for Pascal Siakam. But sometimes timing is everything. And yeah, if OG was on this team right now, I'd be very confused. But you have Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, and that is a very different team than the one you had coming into this season. And I think I would have been really disturbed if that OG trade had not happened and then this trade had happened first. I think I would have spent a lot of time kind of panicked about it. And it just comes down to roster fit and what your team needs. You don't build from the past, you build from the present, right? It's mid. I think you're trying to hear what you want to hear, bro. I think it's a good trade for the Raptors. It's not the best trade. It's not like a great trade. It's not a fleece. It's not whatever. But it's something that sets up the ability to do other things. And I think on the basketball court, I know it's hard for people to understand this, but when you watch Bruce Brown, you'll realize you're not that much worse. And I think that that's really hard for people to understand. Like, how could you not be so much worse? But I think it's because you guys consistently overrate what Pascal Siakam is. And I'm looking forward to seeing a major shift from the media of like, that's what this is about. Yeah. Because trust me, if Pascal Siakam was who the media wants you to believe he was, he would have gotten the 5-year max. I promise you, he would have. Yeah, let's leave that up there. Anyways, thank you to everyone who super chatted. Thank you to everyone who hung out with us. Thanks a lot for Min Young Chun, Young Chung. Siakam stands are so limited in thinking they can't think 3-4 moves ahead with assets we have now. Yeah, and I mean, you're also asking people to bank on a hypothetical. You know, we don't know what they're going to do with those picks. For all I know, we very well could trade them for future picks down the line. It's been done before. You know, a team falls in love with a prospect at 19. You have the 19th pick. They say, you want 2 future firsts? We really, really want this guy. Boom. Now you have more first-round picks. I like teams with positive draft equity. The smartest general managers, Danny Ainge, David Griffin, president. Who else? Sam Presti. They all build with draft pick hauls. Now, some are going very, very extreme, but it's very intelligent when you consider how many teams don't have draft picks to have an abundance of them. Consider how many draft picks the Clippers, the Suns, the Wolves don't have. What happens when they need to pivot off a contract? They have nothing. They have nothing that can add to it. You know what I mean? You're holding something that's now very valuable, and the Pacers have gone all in. And I think it makes sense for them. As I said, it makes sense for them. Look at the Lakers. Yeah, the Lakers. There are other teams. You know, the Knicks have positive draft equity, right? They were able to dangle RJ Barrett. Apparently, allegedly, RJ Barrett was a toxic asset for the Knicks, right? Because he had 4 years and big money left on his deal, 27 million, not growing, bad PR, okay? Playing in a big media market that hated him. Okay. They were about to do RJ Barrett plus 2 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. You just got 3 first-round picks. So what if you turned around right now and said, let me just give you an idea of the options that you've just opened up for yourself? Because people love first-round picks. I just want to say this before I get out of here. Let's say you call up Atlanta right now and say, we'll give you 3 first-round picks and Gary Trent Jr. for DeJounte Murray. Who's beating that deal? I want to know. Who's offering 3 first-round picks right now for DeJounte Murray? Now, here is the question. Would you have traded Pascal Siakam plus Gary Trent Jr. for DeJounte Murray and Bruce Brown? I think that's the question that you need to ask yourself. And at that point, you say, possibly. So really, it depends on what the 3 first-round picks turn into. It's really hard to count, you know. Yeah. Anyways, take care, guys. Have a great one. I'll see you after the game. And yeah, hang on one sec. Cheers, Elliot Roberts saying, cheers, Rob. Great show indeed. Thanks for making sense of the trade. Raptors Nation at the moment. Greatly appreciated. My pleasure, man. That's what I'm here for. And I try to do it. Brew loose. Yeah. After this video goes live, I will change the description to include a link to this. But for now, a word from our sponsor. The Pendance Film Festival is happening February 22nd to 25th. It is a celebration of international films. It is a brilliant film festival in its 7th season. Prior to the COVID pandemic, it was the fastest growing film festival in the world. What is my affiliation with Pendance? What are they paying me to say this? Well, I am Pendance. I'm the festival director and founder of Pendance. It is my baby. And if you love great films, if you have a film lover in your life, this is a worthwhile event for you, happening in downtown Toronto at the Carlton Cinema, February 22nd to 25th. Make sure to check us out. Link is in the description below for tickets and passes. Tickets will go on sale soon. Passes are already on sale. Let's get to this.